Folks, it's me, Donald Trump. We won, and it has a lot to do with the following guys. Let me tell you about something so huge, something they're all talking about. It's called The DUM Show with Matt Spear, and it's live every weeknight at 7 p.m. Eastern. This is the show that's redefining what it means to speak the truth in podcasting. No nonsense, no filters, just bold, fantastic commentary. Some say the best commentary ever. It's not funded by Russia. It's not funded by China. Oh no, this is 100% American energy right here. So tune in, watch The DUM Show on social media at The DUM Show or thedumshow.com, and let's make podcasting great again.
Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
What is going on, Don't Unfriend Me Nation? Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Good morning. I hope everyone's doing well. Hope you got your coffee. If you don't have your coffee, go over to thedumshow.com and get some coffee. We sold, I think, 48 bags so far this month. So we're selling a ton of coffee. If you haven't been to thedumshow.com, go get some coffee. It is fantastic. Good brew. Also, donations will be at the bottom of the screen when we start. We have a goal of $150 today for this show. And then, of course, we're on tonight. If you don't know how to do it, it's pretty simple. I'm going to show you how to do it right now on your phone. And we'll try to make this as simple as possible. Open up your phone. Doesn't matter whether you have an Android or Apple device. It's pretty much the same. Go to thedumshow.com/donate. Just put that up in the numbers. And for your URL, pretty simple. And then you will be taken to a page. It says, please support the DUM Show. You go to PayPal. You can donate. Go ahead and go to the mailbox and send something there, or go to Venmo. And you get a little brief description of why you should support this show. And then while you're there, you can look at our Diamond Transparency rating, 201 reviews, all 5 stars. And that only is about 10% of our purchases. We have over 2,000 purchases on the show. And great hats, shirts, coffee, all that type of stuff. Go take a look. We're a little bit light on the goal for the month, folks. We need some help. Tonight, tomorrow, and the next few days are going to be very important for us to hit the end of the month goal. Without you, we can't keep the show. So you are an important part of it. See what you can do to help us out if you can. Don't stress if you can't. We'll see you in 3 minutes. Step into a Wimkin. Dude, whoever downvoted the show in the first frickin' 30 seconds, you're a douche plow. Seriously, you didn't even wait. You downvoted the show in the first, 2 minutes. What a wanker. I'm sorry you lost the election. I'm sorry your life is over. I'm sorry the orange Nazi is in charge. If you think this is bad, just wait. I mean, the man hasn't even been inaugurated yet. Just wait till that happens. You can riot soon. You can throw Molotov cocktails and pig shit at cops. It's all coming. I mean, right now, you can take it out on me. I'll be that for you. I'll be there for you, Cupcake. It's you and me. I won't ban you, boo. Thanks for the downvote. Oh, and if it was somebody who actually slipped and has bad eyesight and just hit the downvote, sorry about that. Dude, name a show has a better intro than this. I mean, come on. That at least deserves an upvote. What a yutz. By the way, if you haven't upvoted, please do so, since we have a douchebag who has decided to go ahead and ratio us.
Do you want want the truth? Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news. Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, start offering me. 'Cause I'm everything you want, damn sure what you need. I won't tell no lies, back up all the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's new.
What's up, everybody? It's Ryan Weaver. I am on the Don't Unfriend Me show, otherwise known as The DUM Show, with host Matt Spear. You guys can find the show at The DUM Show on social media or thedumshow.com.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leeroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Matt Spear from the Don't Unfriend Me Show. It is it's a morning, I'll tell you. Susie Wood says, I once downvoted the show because I have bad eyesight, but quickly corrected it. And it's probably a good thing you did, Susie. The overall spite and vengeance level of somebody who downvotes the show, I will find you. And I will pay you back. It's not a threat, folks. It's just facts. It's just facts. And sometimes facts hurts people's feelings. It's a little bright in here. I'm a little just, it's early. I know it's 11 o'clock, but I've been up for quite a while. And I just haven't, I'm only on my second cup of coffee. And it's not hitting the way it should. And we have a ton to cover. There is a lot going on. I hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's excited. Donations entries will go slow. I apologize. Without Olivia here in the mornings, it's hard. I'm trying to get her to quit, but to no avail. So I'm working on doing it myself. Hopefully we have a lot. It's been a little tight this month, and it's okay. But you gotta keep paying the bills, right? You gotta make this lucrative. So it's hard because you want to give it free, and we did for 3.5 years. But then Facebook decided to demonetize us, and we've been in a situation of fighting that curve of when asking too much or too little. So at the beginning of the show, we kind of explain to you how to donate, how to walk through it, and then we expect y'all to kind of chime in and help out a little bit if you can. And then we usually talk about it at the second half of the show at the end. So we'll do that now. But if you have the ability, and remember, listen, you might have been like, what? I watched the show for 4 years. I don't want to give $10 every day and stuff like that. I just want to give a big, we love big sums because that makes the month and we love that stuff. But either way, if it's not your thing and you're like, that's not my bag, baby, you can go over to thedumshow.com. You can pick up some hats, some shirts, some coffee. We have the highest rated store out of any of the shows. You can go to every show. Go look at Crowder. Go look at Ben Shapiro. Look at our ratings. 5 stars, 2,000 sales transactions that have just been sent a review. And we get a 10% return. 5 stars on all. Our product is awesome. And the reason why is because it is. I'm not wearing any right now. I've got my CU hat on because my Buffs are probably going to break the top 15. And my dad and I didn't have a great relationship. But the one thing he did instill in me as he played for the Colorado Buffaloes and did recruiting for him is a love for the Colorado Buffalo football team. And a lot of people know that I do love the Buffs. And I've watched them just be abysmal since I went to the national championship game against Notre Dame back in, was that 1980, maybe 1990, 91, maybe 92. No, as a no, that was Oklahoma. So yeah, probably 91, 92, I think is what it was. But anyway, Broncos won yesterday, which was good. Good. I mean, it's Atlanta. They should have won. And the Avalanche, well, they're getting healthy. Anyway, let's get to it. We got a lot to do today. I hope everyone's doing well. Call-in lines are open if you want to call in. It's in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. 804-212-2208. I am working on a new banner where it says thedumbshow.com and that thing disappears like it did just then and then shows up. That is actually going to become kind of a news ticker banner. So it's going to pop up. It'll, show coffee and T-shirts and stuff, but it also will show the phone number to the show and things like that. I'm working on that graphic right now. We're trying to expand. And we have the new graphics cards coming for the image capture. So you notice there's just a tiny bit of lag. And that is probably not something you can see, but I can see it. And it's driving me up the frickin' wall that my mouth is not in sync with the text when I'm talking. That is because the frame rate on the camera is exceptional. And it takes a very large capacity card that goes into a top-end computer. So if that card isn't Rockstar, it's going to get lag. The cards aren't Rockstar. It's getting lag. That'll be here today. So anyway, now I've given you everything. Here's a few of the other things. I guess the Saints destroyed somebody they played great. Are the Saints even in it? Do they even know? I don't even know. Who cares? NFL football is my son's love, and I love my son, and I'm trying to give him the support that he needs, especially with the Denver Broncos, because, they're a rebuilding team, and it's not the Broncos team that I grew up with, but he's finding his love for him. Every time Rosie O'Donnell does a video, it hurts. I watch it and I'm just like, I get physically sick. Like, I have no idea what it's like to go through chemotherapy, and I really hope that I never do. But I imagine it's something like that as far as the nausea and the overall, vertigo / inner ear imbalance, emptying the contents of your stomach type experience. When I see Rosie O'Donnell, I feel that. Trump confirms plan to use military mass deportation. I'm thinking that when I do this, let me see if this will work. I've got all my news stuff over here, and I think my natural reaction is to pose like this versus this because I have my mouse over here. So it might be better to have my screen. It doesn't matter, whatever. I think I should have my screen on the other side. But I don't know. These are things that we need to figure out together. I guess this is okay. I can just read right here. God, I might need to put on my glasses, though. Lord, oh Lord. Okay, here, let me readjust this. I don't need to be, maybe a little, there we go. Trump confirms plans to use military assets for mass deportation. President-elect Trump indicated Monday that his incoming administration was preparing to declare a national emergency to mobilize military assets to crack down on illegal immigration to secure the border. This isn't the first time that declaring a national emergency for a domestic crisis has taken place. We get national emergencies for hurricanes all the time and fires and things to that effect. But for the border, Donald Trump has used the terminology, and when he calls it a national emergency under the constitutional provisions, gives him not just implied powers, enumerated powers, but which are not written, but the overall authority given to him by Congress, which is his job, is to enforce the laws of the land. So when he declares a national emergency, this allows him to use military units and allows him to make otherwise restrictive decisions on the border that doesn't need to gain approval and funding from Congress. And he can use certain funds from the defense budget. He can use funds from other avenues. And he tried to do that with the border wall. And of course, you know what the Democrats did. They let the steel and the bulldozers rot on the border versus putting it in just to score political points. Now, of course, Democrats will tell you that they don't do that. Of course they don't do that. It's Donald Trump that does that. Yeah, right. They both do it. But Democrats do it at the behest of big donors and big corporations and elitists. And Republicans do it because usually in retaliatory fashion to Democrats' actions. And we're always playing tit for tat. And it's always the question, who started the conflict? Was it the person who drew their sword to cut the head off the snake on the battlefield, or the people that stormed once the sword was drawn? Is a good question. But Trump responded true when pushed on this. He was asked about this on Monday and asked if they were looking to declare a national emergency. On Truth Social, he said, true. He's prepared to declare a national emergency and will use military assets to reverse the Biden invasion through the mass deportation program. Like I said, the emergency declaration on the border would follow one Trump made during his first administration, which he announced on February 15th, 2019, which was fairly into his administration due to frustration with Democrats constantly blocking packages, blocking the border wall bill, and by using emergency action would give him, once again, powers that he didn't necessarily possess without doing that. He says, we're going to confront the national crisis on our southern border, and we're going to do it one way or the other, he said at the time. We have an invasion of drugs and criminals coming into our country. That was back in 2019. His tone has lessened, and it seems more of a reactive now. It was more proactive then. There were a lot of drugs coming over. There was a lot of illegal immigration, but not to the extent we see now because Trump's policies worked. And Trump is coming into a situation where he does not have Obama, who was the deporter-in-chief and deported more illegals than any presidency. You can take the last 10 presidencies combined, and they didn't scratch the surface of what Barack Obama did. Now, a lot of people say it's a good thing. No, because if you're deporting more, it's because there's more illegals and gotaways coming across the border. He wasn't hitting DACA recipients. He wasn't hitting, people who were generationally here illegally. He was hitting massive border crossings that were coming in and turning around and deporting them. At least Obama did that. He later vetoed a resolution from Democrats in Congress opposing the declaration, which allowed him to fund border wall construction. He did this through the Defense Department's budget, or the defense budget. President Joe Biden revoked the emergency declaration on his first day in office, as you remember, along with 91 other EOs that were established by Donald Trump to secure our nation's border. Trump's immigration policies and the comments on, I have determined that the declaration of a national emergency at our southern border was never warranted. I have announced that it shall be the policy of my administration that no more American taxpayer dollars be diverted to construct a border wall, and that I'm directing a careful review of all resources appropriated or redirected. This was back on February 2021. You may all remember. Interesting point of this is that this is probably one of the main reasons that the Biden administration was deemed a failure by the American people, as they repudiated his policies and left his coup de mistress out to dry. Under his administration, illegal immigration hit record high. More than 10 million people crossed into the United States. Polling showed that Biden's handling of the immigration was unpopular, while Trump's positions were broadly supported, as he has a mandate of 61% of Americans believe that mass deportation is necessary. He already tapped immigration hawks like Tom Homan, we talked about that, and Stephen Miller for key positions in his administration. Homan, who was picked to be Trump's border czar, has already promised to carry out these orders, which is an exciting thing. Throughout the 2024 campaign, he promised that this would be the largest deportation program in American history. He says to NBC, really, we have no choice when people have killed and murdered, when drug lords have destroyed countries. And now they're going back to those countries because they're not staying here. There is no price tag. Now, you may also understand it's a Lake and Riley trial has begun. And that is the accused. I will not say his name. I will not show his pictures. I think the guy needs to be eradicated from society and throughout history. But Lake and Riley, who was brutally murdered and raped by this illegal criminal, has waived his jury trial and is allowing the judge to weigh the case. Now, this is a little bit of an unprecedented thing, because waiving a jury trial, the more opportunity you have to hang a jury or have a jury not come back with a decision, the more, the better. Now, with a judge, you're going to have to ask yourself the question: is this judge open to sympathy to illegal criminals? Are they a progressive judge or not? In this case, I don't think it matters. I think this person recognizes that a life in prison is what they're facing, and I think that option is much better than going back to the shithole they came from. And they have resigned to the fact that throwing themselves on the mercy of the court is, you hope you get a lenient judge who may simply give this person a possibility of parole in the future and can ultimately, at this time, have 3 hots and a cot. I don't think that this person will have a very good time in jail, as rape and murder of women is not always looked upon as badly as rape of a child, but it's not a necessarily highly it's not emulated as a place of power. This isn't like somebody who's a drug dealer or somebody who was a criminal mastermind. This was a violent, brutal crime, and most criminals have a code, at least one that will probably find him at the end of a shiv inside prison. And I couldn't find a more fitting end to this piece of shit. Now, in the United States, it's the belief that all people are innocent until proven guilty. Well, he's not a U.S. citizen, so fuck him. He's guilty, and I think they should go ahead and execute with extreme prejudice his execution, and then send the bill to the family. That's not going to happen. He's going to more than likely get life in prison, and hopefully without the possibility of parole. I would like to see that. Too much evidence. And this guy's toast. But anyway, something to think about. And Trump admitting that he is going to use the military is an interesting thing. It creates a fairly broad conflict when it comes to sanctuary cities and how they respond. Now, a lot of the governors, not a lot, but several of the governors have said that they are going to repudiate the mass deportation effort, and do that in any way necessary. They've used words like fight. Now, Trump uses the word fight, and obviously it's an insurrection and a coup. They use the word fight, and it's just proper political terminology. Using the military is an interesting thing. I would hope when he says use the military, that would be for the travel and overall T&E for deporting people makes a lot of sense, right? There's a lot of military bases. There's a whole bunch of C-17s. It would be very easy to schedule and load these planes up, using detention centers for periods of times to house these illegal immigrants, obviously treating them as humanely as possible, giving them food, giving them shelter, doing all those things, putting them in a holding center for a period of time until a flight that could be completed with C-17s or whatever it would be, to fly these individuals back to adjacent areas that they need to return to. Do I imagine that he's going to, put the Marine Corps in the middle of a city, or detach a division of Army? No, I don't think that's what he's saying. I think he will use logistically the United States military to move this effort forward and get away with the bureaucratic red tape. That's what I believe. Yeah, that's where we're at. Folks, looking at donations. Wow, I wonder what's going on. Must be a tough month for people, man. It must be going real hard for people. If that's the case, folks, I certainly can feel that. Someone do me a favor. If we have any mods on, please do me a favor and ban Maurice Levy. These people are supposed to be blocked when they post, because I've put in the parameter, but it seems like on the live shows, it doesn't do that. It relies on the mods. If one of our mods could just tell me that we're good, if not, I will go in and do it. Unfortunately, it's going to take away from the show. But since I don't have any donations to do, I think I've got the time. Let me go do this real quick and make sure, because we don't want these people in here. They're posing as don't unfriend me. They're not don't unfriend me people. and they will scam you out of your money and try to do bad things. Looks like we already got this person. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I block them. They are new profiles, so I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is not allow new profiles made within a week to interact with our pages, and I think that'll solve a lot of problems. Got that person, so Maurice is now gone. Didn't Trump do that before? I think I covered that. I got fired, but started better paying. No. That's not what I'm saying. It's just weird. It's rare. It's not something I usually see. So it's a little surprising. That's all. It's fine. Everyone, don't worry. It's just, these things cost money, and we're trying out the morning shows because we're trying to expand and cover more stuff. But it can't cost the show money in a way where we can't afford it. And every time we run one of these shows, they're costly. You stream for 2 or 3 hours. You've got to pay for that somehow. I wish it was free. I wish everything was just, bandwidth didn't cost money, but unfortunately it does. And you're like, well, that's your problem. It is. And it's a problem that we'll ultimately decide just to stop the AM shows if they can't maintain, and we'll just stick with the PM shows and do something else, go back to recordeds or whatever else it would be. Facebook has been, seems to have lifted a lot of restrictions on stuff that they were doing because of the election, and hopefully that gets better and this all becomes a moot point at some point. But right now it's not. Taking a look at some interesting things when it comes to Kamala Harris's campaign. It's kind of a trip. When we look at it, this woman raised, now, first of all, when we take a look at Joe Biden, he raised almost $500 million. And then in that 90 days, you had Kamala Harris raise almost $1 billion. So I want you to think about this. Joe Biden says, hey, I'm running for office, and I am going to, be the president. I'm going to beat Donald Trump. I'm in good standing. I'm in good health. My mind is clear, all this shit. And what happens? Well, he does the debate, and it's just a catastrophe. And then he, it starts questioning, they need to pull him. You look at Nancy Pelosi, you look at Obama, and you look at a lot of the Hollywood elites wanted to go ahead and pull him. Is there any way that Facebook would remonetize your show? It's not demonetized. That's the problem. It's just they don't play live ads anymore. There's no reason. I'm in great standing with them. They took off our Reels capability, and a lot of my Reels, 100,000, 200,000 views. And they said you used content that wasn't yours. And I'm like, where? And the video's been deleted. Well, how do I know what I did wrong if you delete the video? Because you know how much I produce, and then they're like, you can have it back in a year. And I'm like, okay, fuck. So I waited a year, and it came back for like 21 days, and then they did it again. You've used content. And I'm like, and now I just don't have it. Well, stars I've never had. I can create 5 people account right now, a 5-person account, and I'll have stars. I can do a live show, and I can ask for stars. It's in review. It's pending review. It's been in. I would show you, but they'll ban this show if I show you anything, screenshots from internal workings of how Facebook works. The moment I show it, it gets flagged, and they'll put a strike against me if I don't delete it. And what they do is they say, you're not in any trouble. You haven't done anything wrong, but you're going to be downgraded in the feed, and we won't share your stuff. But here are your options. One is that you can learn about what to do, or you can remove the video, and your page will be back in good standing. So it's blackmail. It's like they can't tell you to delete it because there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. But if you don't, you'll be punished. So you delete it. Then you're in a situation where without stars, and stars sucks anyway. It's kind of like Super Chat on YouTube. They take like 70% of that. When you donate to thedumshow.com, it goes right to us. And the only thing we have to pay is a service charge for the process. Like if it's $10, we pay like 80 cents, but you can actually check, please pay for the service fee for us, so there is no service fee. And we get 100% of that. And that goes right into the show. And we pay tax. We pay 40% taxes on it. But that's what happens is Facebook hits you with a 70% surcharge. You get 30%, and then you got to pay 40% on the 30%. And in the end, with stars, you make like 12 or 13%. It's stupid. So it's not like I really care about stars, but we were making $15,000 a month on Facebook, and that was from all of our ad revenue in our lives, and our shows were going 60, 70,000 views a time. And that's like, $75, $80. Well, you do that 30 times a month, and that shit adds up. And then we had our viral posts that we're seeing 15, 20 million hits sometimes, and that, those things paid $1,000. So we were doing great, and we never asked for money. I have reached out. I've tried to hire lawyers. Facebook is too big. Nobody will ever hold them accountable. They don't care. They get away with unfair practices. It's what they do. So we've had to go to other places like Wimkin, who do a great job, and they take care of us, and 9 million followers over there. And it's a great free speech network. And we're trying to grow on Twitter, but it's really hard to grow on Twitter. It's hard to grow on Rumble. It's hard to grow on YouTube. And the reason why is because they don't show your stuff. And they've got their niche market, they've got their traffic distributed, and they can only promote so many shows. So to crack that code, you have to have an unbelievable, rare, viral experience that gets you exposed, and then you build your channel. And it's very much like business. You just have to have that black swan event and you're successful. Well, that's not necessarily for everybody. Facebook, we did that. We had a black swan event, and we went to, 200,000 followers, and it was amazing. But Facebook's decided to take that away. So now you've got me on that, and I'll move off. I apologize, but no, I don't think they will ever reinstate our account. Dean says, how concerned should we be with, we'll talk about Ukraine in a minute. It's obviously on the topic. Anyway, talking about Kamala Harris, $1 billion. So this is, it's an interesting thing when you look at where the money went. And where did it go? What did she spend it on? And I've got a list, but I've also got some other interesting tidbits. Let's see if I can pull this back up. So with her $1 billion, they went ahead and they said that Joe Biden was going to run, and George Clooney and his ilk, even though Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Obama were trying to do a coup, a soft coup, but still a coup. And they went ahead and told Biden, as we know, you got to get out. And Nancy Pelosi was even quoted as saying that she is one that orchestrated this, and went to him and said, you need to bow out. You don't have a chance of beating him. And she gave the ultimatum, either he does it or we'll move to the next steps. We know what it is. So in this situation, you've got them still running Biden and completely lying to the American people, raising, I think they did 91 million at that event, and milked everybody for every dollar they could, and then just bailed on Biden, and then turned around and did the exact same thing. And she raised like 250 million in her first 2 weeks. So where did all the money go? I mean, we saw these amazing people come out, these billboards and T-shirts, and, well, this is what they spent it on. $450,000 they spent on the Sphere in Vegas. $450,000. Gave Oprah $1 million. And this is like, Oprah's denying it, but she came out, and you remember her hearing what she said is, I'm doing this, out of my own, conscience to do good things. And I think Kamala Harris is, no, you didn't. You did it for $1 million, you fucking shill. I'll do it for, I would have endorsed Kamala Harris for $1 million. Nobody would have believed it. And I think I would have maintained my audience, because 5 seconds after I did it, I would just tell everybody I did it for the money. I did it for the nookie. So something to think about, right? Something to think about. Then you've got a situation where influencers for Harris, these are the people like JoJo from Jers and Brooklyn Dad and the Krasenstein douche plows and, Harry Sisson and, all those just morons. These guys are the influencers for Harris. They threw almost $4 million to social media influencers. Right now, there's about 70 to 80 of these guys on Twitter. So even if you do the math, these guys made hundreds of thousands of dollars. Unbelievable amounts of money. I wish I could. Come on, Trump people, what the hell? I spoke pretty much favorably. I think I should have seen some dollars. Just saying. Would have been nice, but no. Did I see any money? No. I didn't see a penny. I should have. Anyway, so that's where we've got that. Bobby donated $50. Thank you, Bobby. Bobby always seems to donate and help out the show. We appreciate you. Means a lot. Looks like we're having a fentanyl roundtable today on Wimkin, and I am going to go ahead and join that. So if you're going to be on Wimkin between 1 and 4, I will be there. Would love to see you there if you would like to. Yeah, so swing on by if you would not mind. That's going to be over on Wimkin, and it'll be a live roundtable, like I said. And if you would swing by, that'd be great. I've got to do this. I'm sorry. I'm struggling here because I'm trying to stall by talking to you. I accidentally put in 2 donations, and I didn't mean to do that. And I got to fix it. This is the problem, not having my wife here. She makes this happen. Delete. Yes. Okay, we'll see if that fixes this thing. Oh, shit. It's a morning, folks. It is most assuredly a morning. Okay. Reset the goal. Now I got to go back in and put it in. Add. Let's see. Bye. There we go. And all right, there it is. All right. So that should show up right after this. Okay. So taking a look at the overall cost, $12.2 million for Facebook and Instagram ads. Once again, Bobby, thank you so much for always taking care of the show and helping us out. We appreciate it. North Carolina, $12.2 million, just an example ad on Facebook and Instagram. But that is a shit ton of money. That is probably 100 million impressions for 12.2. That is an no, it's more than that. It's a billion. It's at least 1 billion impressions. I can go on for $1.43 and buy 1,000 impressions. So let's go ahead and say 10,000 would be $10. Then 100,000. So yeah, you're talking a shit ton of money. So $10 for 10,000, it'd be $100 for 100,000. It would be $10,000 for 1 million. Oh my God. I can't even do the math. It's in the billions. That's billions of dollars. That's unbelievable. So, something to think about. That's a lot of money. Then staffers, canvassers, and volunteers. You're paying volunteers $56.6 million. Remember all that? Oh, well, we've knocked 1 million doors in the last 9 hours. Well, of course you did, because you spent $56 million. Then television, radio, billboards, and newspaper advertising, $690 million. 600, almost more than $500 million. You guys, I worked with budgets that were $2 million in advertising for companies that were worth $10, $15 million. I worked with budgets that were $150 million for companies that were worth $2.1 billion. And I was responsible for $150 million in ADVO. The fact that they spent $1 billion in less than 90 days, that is unfucking believably wasteful and ridiculous. Your penetration is you're basically just you're showing the same ads to the same people. You're showing the same ads to the same people, and it's not, and at that point, it's not selective marketing. It's not like show me between an age demographic of 23 years old and 60, college-educated conservative Christians in red states. And even though a lot of that you can't do those, but you can do them. You just can't do it that blatant. But that's not what they're. This is blanket. These are non-voters. This is just like non-targeted marketing. You're throwing Kamala ads out to Republicans, you're throwing out to Democrats, you're throwing out to independents. It's a pray and spray campaign. I saw Kamala ads, so I should never see a Kamala ad. It's unbelievable. You want to figure out what her spending would be like when she entered government. Give me a break. Unbelievable. If you take a look, this graph, official campaign, $1 billion. Donald Trump spent a third of that. $381 million. A little more than a third. That's incredible. Largest outside committee, 331. So outside consultation. Others, Trump spent $488 million. Now, that's not Trump. That's, Freedom for Americans PAC and shit like that. These are third party people who are promoting Trump America 2024, shit like that. Does that make sense? But what's funny is that you look at the third party candidates. She spent like $2.2 billion, $2.3 billion. They're not even mentioning that. If you look, I'll show you that when we go to her breakdown in spending. And we take a look at what third-party vendors spent. It's incredible. And these are people who are not directly related to the Kamala campaign, but they're DNC, places like the Lincoln Project, Planned Parenthood, these other super PACs, what they spent. She spent over $2.6 billion all in all. And when all the dust settles, you're going to hear in 90 days, this woman spent $2.6 billion. That's not even including what Biden spent. Biden made, but also spent like $256 million going against Trump. It's insane. So we can go ahead and talk about it. If you take a look at media, once again, $2.5 billion all in. I told you 2.6. Now, media with Trump was $2.1 billion, but he only spent 400 million out of that. Now, that's a quarter. They gave her 1.5 billion. They matched her. And she spent what other, PACs spent on her. She spent 1 billion of that. Half would have been 750 million. So she spent almost 80% of what they spent. That's insane. That's just insane. Digital, $1 billion in digital marketing. Donald Trump, 707. Admin, $1 billion in administrational tasks. 760 for Trump. Fundraising, 332 million for her, 440 for Donald Trump all in. Consulting, 556, 320 for her. Legal polling, 259 and 214, and field voting, 248 to 204. But they spent far more than Trump on outside groups as well. Media, 690 million on outside groups. Trump is 166. Admin, 16.4. So when you look at Donald Trump's campaign, his money, his pocketbook, what he raised, the Trump for America Political Action Committee, and his super PAC, and his overall campaign, it was much more frugal than she was. I mean, the moves that he made, going into gas stations, going into barbershops, going into McDonald's, this had much more of an impact than her overall spending. I mean, let's look at what she spent. She spent $10 million on Beyonce, to walk out in a full bodysuit, not even showing off any titty and ass, which is Beyonce's known for, because she whores herself out. Doesn't even sing. Leads people in Houston to believe it's going to be a concert, and she's Houston's baby. Like, if I said anything bad while I was in Houston about Beyonce, the Spanish Inquisition ensued. Ninjas came out from the ceiling. Black helicopters came in to arrest me, gag me, bound me, and throw me in a prison cell. You can't say shit about her. And they showed up, tens of thousands of people, and she didn't even sing. You gave Beyonce $10 million and she didn't even sing. You got to give it up for Taylor Swift. You know they went to Taylor Swift and probably offered her 15, 20 million, and she said no. Or said she had a conflict. So all the shit we give Taylor, and she has every right to receive it, it's kind of a funny thing that Taylor Swift didn't sell her soul, at least for that. She sold her soul for many other things. $5 million to Megan Thee Stallion. What the? 2.3 to Lizzo. 1.8 to Eminem. Eminem, listen, I don't like M's personal politics, but he's got more talent than all of them, and he got 1.8. M, the wife beater? Oh. $1 million for Oprah. Oprah's only worth $1 million? Wow, she's downgraded. That's insane. They spent $100,000 building a set for Call Her Daddy podcast, the one that nobody watched. Instead of just sending her to the Call Her Daddy podcast. Okay, so my set here, everything here, probably about a $30,000 set. Lights, computers, cameras, all the extras in here, soundproofing, the wiring on top, the wiring for all the electronics, the multiple computer stations, the desks, the chairs, the speaker systems, the backlights, the sound processing equipment, the multiple monitors, all of this, multiple Macs, about $30,000. Can you imagine if, like, Donald Trump, which he wouldn't, but if he did, said, hey, I'm going to come on the Don't Unfriend Me podcast. And I'm like, okay, can't wait to see you at my house. It's a beautiful home. Maybe we can have dinner. I know you don't drink, but, we'll have some refreshments and we'll have a good time. And then Donald Trump's campaign says, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to go ahead and fly you to Mar-a-Lago, but we're just going to rebuild the Don't Unfriend Me podcast set. Why? Because we have fuck you money. That's why. Are you kidding me? You know what I would say? I would say, you know what? Forget the money. Just let me use that set. And I would fly down to Mar-a-Lago and interview people all the time for free. Because I would make more money doing that than anything Donald Trump could give me. And I would just say, you know what? You want to rebuild that set down there? Fine, that's cool. As long as I can go down and use that set and interview Corey Lewandowski or interview Vivek or Elon Musk or, Melania or Donald Jr. or, President Trump. Leave it up. Or just use it as your own podcast or something. But I can't believe it. So that's what they did. They rebuilt her set. They'll never use it again. They're going to throw it all away because there's no benefit. There's nobody there. There's nobody to run anymore. What arrangement did they make? I would have put my entire payment, contract, royalties on the line because I believe Donald Trump was going to win and say, hey, man, for the next 4 years, just let me use that place. I'll fly down once a week to Mar-a-Lago and I'll do my show from Mar-a-Lago. And we'll talk about Trump policies. We'll talk about what's going on in the president's life. We'll talk about his fucking golf game. I don't care. But there's no reason for you to do this. I'll bring my set to you. Now that would be a little bit of a pain, but I could box up pretty much all the knickknacks and stuff. You don't need to rebuild that. Don't waste that money. Go put that money into some commercials on Facebook or something, or Twitter, or go, put that money somewhere else. Who are these people that they would just exploit and just steal her money? I mean, what a stupid fucking woman. What a dumb woman. that money could have been spent elsewhere. That money could have been used for so many other things. Did you see the photographs of all the frickin' signs thrown away? And the wasteful spending. And now these things aren't cheap. I've bought these for, well, I didn't buy them, but I have relationships with people who have run for office, and I know how much they cost. I think I've got this picture. You can find it on our website for sure. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Oh, this is crazy. Look at this. Do you guys know how much that is? Those things are like, it depends. If you buy them by the pallet load, they'll probably cost you $2 to $2.50 a piece. They're probably getting it for $2.50 to $3 for these things. The company making them are probably making 25 cents to 50 cents per, but she's buying 100,000 of them, so it's a good contract. You know, they're going to make good money. But right there, with political campaign signs, you're probably looking at $10,000 worth of campaign signs just sitting there, ready for the trash. Stacks of them. At least give them the Habitat for Humanity. Maybe you can build some houses out of those things or something. It's horrible. Trust me, Carrie, I want to do location broadcasts. In order to do location broadcasts, the donations that we get right now are incredible. And they really, really help. But we're gonna have to up the game. I mean, that right there takes care of the show and takes care of basic living expenses. You know, we're going to have to get to a point where this show, and it's nothing, it's just a matter of funding, right? It's a matter of funding. We have enough to take care of our lives, our family, our home, and provide so we can survive and live. If we want to start traveling and going places and going to the DNC or going to the RNC or doing street interviews or, you know, going off-site, either it needs to be paid by those people who want that from us, or it has to be done with the money we intake from clothes and donations and stuff like that. And that's the way that works. Now, if you don't think I'm going to go to Wimkin and be like, hey, it's 2025, let's talk about how we want to expand the show and start getting some guests on here. Of course, we're going to do that free work. And we've done a good job. I mean, Eli Crane and Ryan Weaver and Damani and Ryan Samuels and the other interviews that we've done have been great. But we want to do consistently, and that's Wimkin's going to work with us to do that. But in order to travel off site, I mean, just to fly somewhere, get a hotel room, take the equipment with us, and book somebody, and then their fee, it costs a lot of money. So that's, you know, we just have to continue to grow the channel. That's how it works. Just something to think about, you know, something to think about. Let's see. Got to put this in. Hold on. Sorry, folks. Don't mean to interrupt. But, you know, and that's where the show grows. And that's when you start, you know, really hitting high levels. Thank you, Glenn. You're the best, buddy. So just something to think about, you know, if we want to get to that stage, we want to do location shows all the time. I mean, and the ultimate goal that we want to do is I want to go right down the road and I want to rent a place and redo studios. So we can have multiple studios. So Amy can come in and do a show, or we can go ahead and invite interview guests there. It just takes time. You know, you got to look at what Joe Rogan did. It took him 10 years to get where he's at. We will never eclipse that. I don't believe we have the capabilities. I don't think I have the talent level for that. But I know we can get somewhere within, maybe not earshot, but at least, you know, maybe 10% of where he's at. Because, you know, there were times last year that we beat Ben Shapiro. There were times last year that we had higher ratings than Crowder on some shows. That's important. And if we can do that on a consistent basis, that literally is just building our group. Let's see. Okay. So obviously a lot of money was wasted in this campaign. Let me show you just, you know, it's easy to go, okay, billions of dollars. Fine. It's easy to do that. But when you really break this down, it's ridiculous just to see how corrupt her administration was going to be because of the amount of money that they stole from people. I mean, and it really was stealing. She had no shot to win. It was all a lie. It was all a smokescreen. It was all a smokescreen. So here is some of the numbers here. This is a great site. If you have not been to it, it's opensecrets.org. And I'll put it in the links if you want to go and play. It's a great place. Great place to participate. Opensecrets.org. Go take a look at it. But if you go here and you want to look at a summary of Kamala Harris's spending, it'll show you Harris for president right here. $1 billion raised, and they spent 916. So here's the question. If they're claiming they spent 916 and they have 1 billion, where's the 90,000 or $90 million that's missing? Thanks, Bobby. We'll see you. So explain that to me. They're 20 million in the hole right now. So where did it go? Where's the money? Interesting thoughts, right? So Harris for president made a lot, but look at this, raised future USA, 394 million, but they only spent 373. They're taking money from this and they're declaring it as revenue. They're declaring it as revenue. American Bridge. Look at all these places. They're cutting millions of dollars out of this. Look at Forward Majority Action. Now, I got to give the Lincoln Project some credit. They certainly spent every fucking penny that they raised. You know? So they're only $500,000, $500,000 unreported. But still, for a $21 million haul, that's a lot of change. That's a lot of money for 90 days, $500,000. Can you imagine that if the Don't Unfriend Me show did that? Say we went ahead and sold $10,000 in merchandise and got $10,000 in donations. And, we got that. And then we just went on a $1,000 vacation. That's not a lot, but you'd ask the question, well, why isn't that going back into the show? And the great thing is we can show you the receipts. And you see it. You see the show upgrade. You see the new computer. New computer isn't to play fucking video games in World of Warcraft. The new computer is to do more on the show, is to have higher streams, to bring more people on the show, to do shows where we talk about things with 10 guests from the Don't Unfriend Me show, things like that. So, if you have a show that all of a sudden they're driving a Maserati and they're telling you, hey, man, this money is to build the show and build the house and take care of the family and the kids. And then all of a sudden I got a new Maserati, or, I got a new Rolex and I'm not rocking my dive watch. You'd be asking, well, what are you doing with all your money? And why are we donating if all you do is just go ahead and buy nice shit for yourself and you don't invest into the show? You would have to ask that question, right? I would. And I would say, am I going to give this money to this company anymore? So all these companies are raising money, but they're all pulling some sort of royalty from it, including the Biden campaign. I want to know where, 80 some odd $1 million went. Sorry, that interests me. Be completely transparent. My penis reduction surgery, I will be using that money effectively. It's important to me to be transparent with you. Let's go into Twitter. Let's go look at the final meltdowns that are happening over there. And there's quite a few. Oh, God, Rosie. Jeez. A lot of people are asking me about the Tyson Paul contract. And I guess that Paul got 40 million and Mike Tyson got 20 million. I don't care. It was all show. It was all show. That's ridiculous. If Tyson would have connected with Paul I mean, really connected with a Tyson punch. But that's almost a 60-year-old man. Listen, I'm 50 years old. I'm in fairly decent shape. I move around. I don't sit around. I'm not a sloth. I'm not Eric Erickson. Sorry, Eric. You're kind of being a douche lately. Seriously, dude. You need to pick your side. I'm sick and tired, dude. You don't get to be a never Trumper anymore. He's the president of the United States. Seriously, pull your head out of your ass. I really like you, but you're really starting to piss me off. And if you put me, I was talking to my kids about this. Say, Dad, you're 6'4", you're 225. You're a pretty strong dude. If you get into a ring with somebody who's 24 years old, who has moderate experience in MMA, how are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to get my fucking ass kicked. That's what's going to happen. The only way I win that fight is if I can get a hold of that person. And I can negate their arms and elbows and knees and legs in the fight. And get a hold of them quickly and decapacitate them. That's the fight. That's when I win. If I get a hold of you and I grab you, you're in deep shit. Because I am a strong dude. Like Joe Rogan, his kick is incredible. If he gets you with a backside kick or his roundabout or whatever the fuck roundhouse kick that he does, that shit will snap your fibula, tibula, whatever. That guy is ridiculous. He can kick like a horse. My strength in any type of physical altercation are my knees and my elbows. You get into my wheelhouse and I'm going to hurt you. You get within knees and elbow striking distance, I can put my knee right here up above my ear. And I can just knock the living shit out of somebody with a knee or an elbow. And I get my hands on you and I grab you, you're in trouble. I don't care who you are. Grip strength is solid. But you get in a ring with a 24-year-old who's MMA or BJJ? No. I'm going to get my ass just destroyed, rocked, torn up. Torn up. And I told him, I said, if it's like a life or death situation, I'm going to fight that person from 700 yards away, and I'm going to win that fight. And that fight won't make a sound for that person. They won't even hear it. They're not going to fight somebody fair who's MMA. Fuck no. What benefit does it? It's honor. It's not honorable. Would you fight a guy with a gun if you didn't have one? No, I'm not going to fight a person who is a mixed martial artist who knows what they're doing and has the capability and the wind, the cardio and the knowledge to end me. No, fuck no. I'm not going to fight that fight. I'm not going to fight unless it's worth fighting. And if I'm going to fight, it's going to be at my age, it's going to be because my life is on the line. So no. Would I ever do a charity event with a 24-year-old? Not a chance. Would I ever fight Jake Paul? No way. Jake Paul would kick my ass in a heartbeat. Unless I'm fighting for my kids or fighting for my wife. That's not a fight. That is a completely different situation. Folks, Eric Erickson's got 28 people live. We've got like 10 or 12 on Twitter. Would really love, Melanie, if you have a chance to go over to Twitter and let's beat Eric's live show. So the point is that Tyson going into that, he can't move like he used to. His knees didn't look good. He doesn't have the mobility. He stung Jake just to make it look. There wasn't a ton of power behind that shot. Jake has taken much harder shots than that, and his chin holds firm. Jake's a lot of things. He's not a talented fighter. He is a wonderful promoter and marketer. He can hit. He's got some skill. I wouldn't want to get struck by him. But anyone that thinks that Mike Tyson was going to go in there and knock a guy who outweighs him by 40 pounds, who's got almost a foot on him, and he was just going to drop him at 60 years old, you don't understand. You don't understand. Old man strength is amazing, but not very realistic. You have to apply that strength, and you have to make a mistake in order for Mike Tyson to win. I've seen the training videos of Mike Tyson. Those videos were 4 or 5 years ago. And a training video can be cut. You put a man in a ring and you go ahead and you have him go for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Most men in America wouldn't even last 45 seconds. Their wind would be gone. The exertion, the adrenaline, the overall, the ability it takes to be nimble on your feet and move around in that way. You're using muscle groups. You're burning oxygen. You have muscle fatigue just from the movement. And then you got to strike and plant. Go swing a baseball bat 20 times and let me know how you feel. Go throw a baseball 20 times and let me know how you feel. Why do you think these pitchers come out from throwing a baseball at 98 miles an hour and are lathered in sweat after they throw 10 pitches? It's exertion. Throw a punch. Most people haven't even been in a fight. Most fights, most people, the average person, after 10 seconds, that they have reached and eclipsed their maximum potential and their wind is gone in 10 seconds in a real fight. You have to train yourself. You have to go through these things. You have to work on your cardio. You got to work the bike. You got to work the jump rope. You got to go ahead and spar and practice. And it's just like holding your breath underwater. You can't just go in there and hold it for 4 minutes. There's nobody on the planet who's been able to do that ever. You're 16 years old. You're going to go, I'm going to go down and I'm going to hold my breath for 4 minutes. You're dead. You're not going to hold it for 4 minutes. You have to train your body for that. Same thing when it comes to fighting. Most people who go into the ring and did any type of fighting would be exhausted after 10 to 15 seconds of fighting. And that's where a lot of fights are at. If you dodge and you move and you get away from the first 2 or 3 blows, you're going to be able to turn around and fucking destroy another person who isn't trained. But if you walk out and you got some Hispanic guy and he's got cauliflower ears or he's got a split eyebrow and that fucking guy is literally just coming at you and he is ready to go, you better make a decision real quick of, fuck dude, seriously, no mas, I'm good. Because you're about to get drilled. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to ruin this dental work to prove a point about honor. If there's nothing where some guy flips me off, I'm going to get out of the car and fight him. Fuck no. Those days are done. I've lived that life. I've done those things. That's stupid. It's just stupid. There is no honor in getting your ass pummeled over some guy cutting you off. You're an idiot. But if that guy wants to come in and he wants to hurt my family or he disrespects my wife or he's a threat, I'm not going to fight him. I'm going to pull my gun on him. And I'm going to tell him to put his face in the fucking dirt. Because at that point, is stand your ground. And fighting, no interest to me. There's no interest for you to fight me, have my gun break free from its holster, and have you use that against me and my family. I am going to pull my weapon on you. I'm going to warn you. You continue to move forward to me, I'm going to put you down. That's it. We're not going to have a conversation. I am here to get home. I'm not here to win a fucking fighting contest. Now we're in a situation where I have a few beers and I'm out with the buddies and some guy lips off and we go out back and we want to throw down. That's a completely different thing. And if that person is trained and I know that, well, then I should have shut my mouth. I'm going to take my hits like a man. I'm going to tell my friends to stay out of it. And if this guy gets on top of me and starts rear naked choking me, I expect my friends to jump in and fucking pummel him. If you're going to put me in a position where you're going to try to kill me or I'm going to need all the help I can get. But in a normal fight, I have no problem with getting my ass kicked. When you look at this Paul situation and Tyson, it is a gimmick. It was just for show. It was WWF. Of course they weren't going to hit him full force. Of course they're not going to hit a 60-year-old man and dislodge his brain and kill Mike Tyson. Really? Nobody wanted Paul to hit Tyson like that. Nobody. Everybody wanted Tyson to hit Paul like that. Tyson had, people go, did he go the full? Did he? Yeah, but was he exerting himself? Were they really boxing? No. Thomas says, yes, all have carried a rucksack 13 to 16 at 45, and I can say at 55, I can still do it. To me, it's muscle memory. Sorry, Matt, not just ready to say he lost because he was tired and old. Carrying a ruck is not boxing, dude. I can still carry a 45, 65-pound ruck, and I can go. I can still do a 30-mile hike. But do you really tell me you can beat your time when you were fucking 28 years old? No. You're full of shit. I'll give you everything in my bank account and you can show me that video where you can beat your time at 20. Okay, well then don't tell me that there's not degradation of and it's not just all muscle memory because the muscle mass is different. Your overall wind is different. Your bone density is different. Your ability to take impact on your brain is different. For anyone to sit here and say is that they are in better shape at 55 versus 45, then they weren't in good shape at 45. But if you take someone who has been in good shape from the ages of 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and you're going to tell me that there is no performance lag, then you weren't in good shape to begin with. Sorry. You can disagree with it. But Mike Tyson, dude, Mike Tyson in the ring was completely opposite of those training videos. The training videos that we saw was Mike Tyson striking. He was diving, ducking, dodging. He was moving. His feet were moving. He was on the frickin' balls of his feet when he was going forward, and he was on the pads of his feet when he was falling backwards. He was springing in his step. That was not the Mike Tyson we saw in that fight. And if you go back and look at Paul's fights, Paul looked nothing like he was. Okay, whatever, Thomas. Thomas, if you are at 45, we're not talking 45 to 55. We're talking a 28-year-old, 30-year-old guy who has 80% muscle mass on his body, who has a 6-inch reach on Mike Tyson, who outweighs him by 40 pounds and has a foot on him. And you're going to tell me that that's close? No, not a chance. That was not a fight. I just, no. It wasn't a fight. It was an amateur staged sparring match. Dude, at the end of it, he's bowing. Paul bows down at Tyson. Tyson could have knocked him the fuck out. Why didn't Tyson swing? Tyson puts out his hand to shake. Dude, it was bullshit. It wasn't a fight. Nobody wanted to see Mike Tyson go down. Nobody. Come on. Nah, it wasn't a fight. And like I said, carrying a rucksack or swimming or running is completely different than a fight. Getting in a ring with somebody is one of the most physically exhausting things you can do. That and childbirth. There's nothing like it in the world. There's not. Okay, Thomas, and don't sit here and tell me that because you can carry a rucksack at 55 and 45 that somehow Mike Tyson stood a fucking chance at 60 years old to fight a kid who advantaged on every single scale. That's like you telling me that Sugar Ray Leonard in his prime could beat Evander Holyfield. There's no fucking way that could ever have happened. 20 million is why he did not swing. 20 million is why he did not swing, and his age is why he couldn't swing. Because once again, if you look at his training tape, that is years before. You go ahead and you put Mike Tyson on a hitting machine right now. It's not even going to be close to the strength in his prime. He doesn't have the mobility. The thing about Mike Tyson is that with his stature and his center of gravity, he was able to get low below the belt line and bring his entire body up and through with his punch, putting his back muscles into his punch versus his bicep or shoulder or forearm strength. He would use his power, one of the strongest muscles in the body, the back, and use his lats to propel through the punch, up and through. He would fucking connect in a way that it was like getting hit with a freaking leg. That is why Mike Tyson was successful. It wasn't that he was a fantastic boxer. It wasn't that he was a pugilist. It's that he was a hammer. And he was relentless. And he was difficult to hit, and he had a good chin. And he could take hits. And even if you got a full, then there was times when he came in and he exposed himself and he was coming in with a shot and he would get drilled in the head and he wouldn't flinch and he would still connect. The guy would leave himself open. Give Mike Tyson his full force and Tyson would just decimate people. Decimate them. It's not what he can't do that anymore. He doesn't have that strength. He doesn't have that speed. It's not that ask me a question. Matt, would you go fight Mike Tyson? Not a fucking chance in hell. He would destroy me. That's not the point. The point is you're saying that it's not about age. Listen, bro, I've had a 3-level fusion. I have had multiple bone breaks in key parts of my ambulatory movement. I have had spinal stenosis, degenerative disc disease. I've got chronic problems with my shoulder. I'm missing half of my jawline. My neck needs a fusion. I've had a spinal graft done on my spinal column. I've had a discectomy done. I've had a pacemaker for my back with electric rods going up my spine and a pacemaker in my lower ass. As far as overall strength, I'm probably stronger than I was when I was 25. My grip strength is stronger. I can lift more. I can bench more. I can squat more than when I was 25. But I never reached my maximum potential at 25. I was doing a different type of physical activity. I was doing cardio. I was moving. I was running. I was doing things that were designed to be lean and fast and a completely different type of physical stamina. Can I eclipse my run times and long distance running at 25 now? No, not a chance. Not with my back. There's no way. My point is that you are broke as shit. No, I'm not. Because Thomas, I'll go ahead and do push-ups right now. I'll get you on video, and I promise you, I could just fucking blow you away in push-ups. I know I can squat more than you too. Just by looking at you, guarantee I can squat more than you. I may be broke as shit, but I've made up for those things by training and taking care of my body. But that doesn't mean that translates into the ring. That means that doesn't translate into fighting a 28-year-old who outweighs me by 40 pounds, has 6 inches, and has almost a foot on me. It just doesn't. So I am broke as shit. But I was told I couldn't walk again. So these are completely different things. Mind over matter, I agree with you. I agree with muscle memory. I agree with everything you're saying. But that doesn't translate into Mike Tyson being the Mike Tyson that he was when he's 28 years old. And it doesn't mean that he can beat a kid who honestly can take a hit, can deliver a very powerful hit. Paul hits hard. He's not a wimp. He's not a wimp. He's not a heavyweight champion. And neither is Mike Tyson. Not anymore. So once again, you can take any sport. Take Sandy Koufax, probably one of the greatest pitchers ever in history. Take Randy Johnson, Clemens, Nolan Ryan. Take all of them and have them pitch at 20 years old and have them pitch at 45. There's going to be no comparison. That 45-year-old pitcher is probably going to be a better pitcher than 20. But take the 30-year-old of any of those, and there is no fucking chance that any of them are better than they were. Verlander is a wonderful example. Verlander at 2017 was throwing heat, throwing smoke, throwing high-end pitches, throwing them down and away, was able to paint the zone. He was incredible. Better than he was at any other time in 2017. 5 years later, dog shit. It's just, there is a time when the human body cannot eclipse immaturity, no matter how much maturity it has, because there's degradation in your overall ambulatory movement, your ability to deliver strength, all of these things. Your knowledge is there. Your understanding is there. And that's why a lot of older players are better coaches than they are players. But take a look at Ovechkin. Ovechkin right now is ready to beat Wayne Gretzky's goal, and he's going to hit it. He's got a hat trick last night. People were saying there's no way he can produce. Jaromir Jagr also, but he's not better than when he was 30. Jaromir Jagr, nobody will ever say that Ovechkin and Jaromir Jagr were better at 40 years old than they were in their prime. Nobody is going to say that 35, 40-year-old Nathan McKinnon is better than McDavid or he is right now. There's not anybody on the planet who will tell you that. Now, he still may put up a hat trick, and he still may put up 20, 30 goals in a season. But his speed is going to be down. He's going to play a different type of game. He's going to make opportunity, high-performance shots. He's going to go ahead and use his body and his strength that he's built up. He's not going to be able to use his speed anymore, so he's going to have to use his forechecking skills. He's going to have to intercept passes and play where the puck's going to be. He has to change his style, and Ovechkin has changed his game. He still sits on top of the dots on power plays. He still cheats on the blue line, but he's playing a more physical game now. He's slowing it down in front of him, and he doesn't have the speed. He never really has. And he's being a more two-way player than he's ever been before. He's getting open for passes more. He's breaking away from the defense in the forecheck. So he's using maneuverability versus speed. This is not the same thing. So Mike Tyson might be in some really good shape and he might be able to strike and hit, but he is no longer the person he was. And anyone who thinks that he was is not paying attention. No worries. I am too broke. My back twice. These shoulder surgeries, 8 knee, not laughing at you with you because I get it. I know you're not laughing at me. And I know we're not measuring dicks, Thomas. What I'm saying is that nobody is as good as they used to be unless you're moving in the prime. Like, once again, 20-year-old versus a 45-year-old as a pitcher, a 40-year-old or a 20-year-old, I don't know, man. Experience or talent? I'm probably going to take experience. I'm probably going to take experience. But 45-year-old versus a 25 to 30-year-old who has experience and has the peak talent, I'm going with the younger person every fucking time. And I think most people will tell you that. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, that's all. That's what I'm saying as far as this fight. So he made $20 million. I think it's wonderful. I think Mike Tyson hopefully gets an accountant. That's right, Thomas. That's right. Now, Thomas, you and I agree. I don't ever want to disparage my heroes. I grew up with Sugar Ray Leonard. I grew up with Oscar De La Hoya. I grew up with Evander Holyfield. I grew up with Butterbean. I grew up with Tyson. Okay, I still remember the clips of Rocky Marciano and hearing about him and Joe Louis and Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay. Boxing was important when I was growing up, and pugilism was amazing. This new style is short-term bravado, and there's people who can do incredible things. But I don't consider I like watching the UFC. I just don't consider it to be as entertaining as some of those old boxing matches. But it was a different time. But I agree with you. I don't like to see Mike Tyson be downgraded. That's why if he would have knocked Mike Tyson out, I would have lost all respect. And it went exactly like I thought. Mike Tyson got a couple good clips. He stayed on his feet. Jake Paul stayed on his feet. But when you look at Tyson at the end of that fight, he was gassed. And he was gassed at the end of those late rounds. And so was Paul. It's just not. It's like watching the Banana Slugs or whatever that team is in baseball that do the dances and the pitching and they flip their bats when it's on fire and they walk up and they pull off their breakaway stripper pants and shit. It's not baseball. It's entertaining. It's fun. It's exciting to watch, but it's not baseball. It's the Harlem Globetrotters. And we got to see Harlem Globetrotters in Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. That's what we got to watch. Pixelated as fuck. Why is anybody having a hard time? Because pride. That's why, Don, is because there's an adage where people can't say, hey, I'm old and I've lost a step. I can say that. And I sit down with my buddy Mike at breakfast. And, you know, when he asked me, why do you want to sit right here? Why don't you trust me? And I'm like, it's not that I don't trust you. It's I don't trust myself. I've lost a step. I don't hear as well. I don't see as well. My eyesight isn't as strong. I need every advantage I can get. So my wife, real quick, to my bedroom. Every time we go to bed, I lock the little door. I've never locked it before because we had kids. And if the kids threw up in the middle of the night or they got scared, we always left our door open. But that shit stopped like this year. And she goes, why do you put that little lock on the door? That's not going to stop anybody. And I said, it's going to slow them down for a second. Same reason I have the alarms and the glass breaks and the video cameras. It's not designed to stop. It's designed to slow them down. And at my age, I've lost a step. I'm 50 years old. I'm not as fast as I used to be. Muscle memory is there, but I can't draw as fast as I used to. I can't get on target as fast as I used to. I can't put rounds down range and recover as fast as I used to. I can't reload as fast as I used to. I can't clear a jam as fast as I used to. I can't pie a corner as fast as I used to. I have to transfix on a target when I pie. That slows me down. And when I come in and I pie a corner, I have to, it takes me longer for my focal point to gain traction. The recognition of recognizing objects and threat versus no harm are slower than it used to be. So you have to and if you don't recognize that, then you're asking to die. Because if you can't compensate for your negative attributes that are just not done from negligence, but just from capability, you're going to put yourself at a disadvantage in a firefight. The same thing holds true in a sport or a job. Is you have to adapt. You have to recognize the strengths you have remaining to overcompensate for the ones that you don't. And there's pride, and men get prideful. I'm not. Fuck no. I don't have the time to be prideful. I know my limitations. That's why when somebody comes into this arena and wants to debate or argue, even like last night, Melanie and I went on for a good hour and a half. This is my arena, and I'm good at it. And if you walk in here, you better be prepared. You better be able to make an argument. But if you walk in here and you think that when you were 20 years old and you could remember things like this, and you're 60 and you're going to walk in here and you're going to have the same type of wherewithal and the same ability to pull facts and data that are going to keep up with me when I'm in my prime, you better recognize that you may not be able to. And there's people who've come on this show who are like, oh yeah, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to tear Matt up. And then after about 30 seconds, I'm trying to remember. And it's like, you're not 30-year-old guy and doing this anymore in an executive boardroom. And you may have had a certain skill set, but you're going to have to learn to compensate for that. It doesn't matter what we do. As good as I am at some things, arguing points and debate, I am the best that I've ever been in my life. And the reason why is because I have patience and understanding, and I'm not looking to hurt people. I'm not looking to be a cutthroat shock jock. I want to have a conversation with people, and I want to learn things from people. That has made me a better debater because I actually care what people have to say, and I want to understand. So last night with Melanie, a lot of, when I went into the dumb chat for the moderators, I'm like, a lot of my questioning wasn't out of frustration. It was because I didn't understand what she was saying. There was a time in my life where I would have used that against her and said, you're being unclear. You're not being concise. You're moving around too much. You're using anecdotal experience to base it on the collective, which is worse than what I'm doing. I'm not misrepresenting statistics. This is an overall view of a statistical probability. And you're saying that that's negated because of your personal anecdotal experience. And that's not the way the world works. But instead, it wasn't that. It was more like, okay, I agree. That could be your experience, that singularity, but that's more than likely an outlier based upon the information we have. Just like the worst reservations on the planet don't make up all reservations, the best don't do the same. That's a conversation we can get to. And at the end, she can go, hey, Matt, I love you. And I'm like, yeah, I love you too. But that conversation couldn't have happened when I was 20, 30, 40. And it's only because of age and experience is that I don't always have to win. I don't always have to be right. So getting old isn't a curse. It means that you're better at doing certain things than you were when you were younger. That doesn't translate into a fight. That doesn't translate into a golf swing. If you take off 80 yards on your drive, it's going to show up on the scorecard. I don't care how wise you are. Oh, well, I have a new swing where I can reserve my power and I can become better at putting. Okay, demonstrate it. Oh, well, I'm putting 3 on the green. Okay, well, then your scorecard's going to suck. This is why there's a senior tour in golf. And you don't see 65, 75-year-olds golfing against 25-year-old kids. So we've branched off on a different topic, but I mean, that's what the Paul fight said to me. It's like taking a 30-year-old racehorse or a 10, 15, 16-year-old racehorse versus an 8 to 9-year-old racehorse. The result is exactly like I thought it was going to be. Mike Tyson was had very little power behind his punches. He was going to be hobbling. He was going to be winded, and Paul was going to make contact and was not going to hit him full force as hard as he could. And that's what happened. Okay? That's it. Fair enough? All right. Whew. That was a... All right, let me see. Oh my gosh. All right, so there's that. Sorry, I got to read this. Sorry, folks, I had something that I had to read. But Thomas, good points, man. You know what I mean? I understand what you're saying, but hiking a ruck is different than what we're talking about. And there's no doubt that you're in good shape and you got stamina. I believe you. I believe you. Old man strength is a real thing, man. It is a real thing. I don't think it's the same thing as what we're talking about is all. You know what I mean? That's all. Let me put this in here and we'll keep going. Okay, gotta check the Dawn. Hey, and if I missed anything and someone wants to present something, thank you, Dawn, very, very much. Absolutely appreciate you. If I'm missing something, let me know. It's like, hey, Matt, you're missing this. Tell me. And we can look at it. Thank you very much, Dawn. There's a name, Butterbean. He was great. Butterbean was a striker. You didn't want to get hit by that guy. And he could take a hit. It's not that Butterbean wasn't a great boxer. He would beat 98% of the guys out there. Jared says, I'm in denial when it comes to aging. I believe there's stuff out there that can regenerate cells. I'm thinking stop vaping and trying out mushroom coffee. Listen, whatever. I am blessed with good genes. My dad did not look 86. My mom doesn't. My kids, they're going to look like they're 20 when they're 40 or 50 or 60 because Olivia does not look her age. Olivia does not look 46, 44. Sorry, she's going to kill me. Not in the least. My wife does not look 46 years old. I have high school kids in my wife's class or my daughter's class who my daughter says are hitting on my wife when she comes up and works at the play or whatever with Hayden because she's short and she's pretty and she doesn't have wrinkles and she looks her age or doesn't look her age. I look closer to 50 than my wife looks close to 44 for sure. But I don't look my age. If I shave my beard, I look like a baby. It's ridiculous. First of all, it looks wrong. It looks very wrong without a beard. But if I shave it, I look like a child because I've got my chubby cheeks. They're not as chubby anymore. I'm starting to lose it. See, the elasticity, getting old. But when I stand up and I'm walking around, I don't look like a 50-year-old man. I don't. I lift. I take care of my body. I eat right. But I'm not even close to where I was as far as like I get out of bed and I'm like, oh. Jeez, this sucks. Yeah, I got my credit. I see something that drops on the floor and I'm like, do I really need that? Or can I get the kids to pick it up in a couple hours when they come home? It's true. You don't have enough flair. I don't know what that means. Sugar Ray Leonard and Muhammad Ali are a couple of the greatest. Oh, for sure. Sugar Ray was incredible. So was Oscar De La Hoya. Donation update. There it is. Stace says, I'm 53. Amy doesn't look 50. Amy has energy like I've never seen. She's hilarious. She doesn't stop. And she doesn't look 53. Seen you do that a few times. Dudes come in and just think Matt's getting down and end up in a fetal position after. Yeah, like I know my strength. I wouldn't be doing this show if I couldn't And it's not that I necessarily debate. I don't let people say something without diving a little bit deeper than the surface level. Like someone coming out here and says, well, Trump's Hitler. Okay, give me some examples which make him like Hitler. Okay, well, he's got some policies where he doesn't like the press. Okay. Barack Obama hated the press. Ronald Reagan hated the press. I hate the press. Am I Hitler? You hate the press. Are you Hitler? Okay. Oh, he said there were very fine people on both sides. Okay, so explain that to me. Who is he talking about? If he says there's very fine people on both sides, do you think he was saying that white supremacists were okay and Black Panthers were okay? Why would he say that? Isn't that antithetical to what a racist would believe? Wouldn't he just say that the white supremacists are okay and not even mention the Black Panthers? Or the Black militants or Antifa? Why would he say that Antifa are good people? Is it possible that he wasn't talking about Antifa and the white supremacists then? Okay, if he wasn't, who was he talking about? Were there any other groups of people there? Oh, there were. There were people who were just protesting the statues, and there were people who wanted them and people who didn't want them. Is it possible that those were the very good people on both sides because they were exercising their right to protest in the First Amendment? Okay, so that's who Trump was talking about. Okay, so why do you think he was talking about somebody else? I wonder why you think that. Could it be possibly that the media clipped that the way they wanted to, and it's been a lie for 9 years or 6 years? Okay, and if it's been a lie for 6 years, what else are they lying about? And before you go ahead and say, okay, well, Trump's still Hitler, maybe you should ask yourself the question, is this because it's something that I've seen, or is this something that I've been told? And if it's something I've been told, we've already established that you can't trust that. So let's restart the conversation. Why don't you really like Trump? That's not a debate. That's just taking something that somebody said and demonstrating that it isn't accurate and why they think that. That's how you argue. But it's not argue to be abrasive. It's argue for understanding. Okay, well, let's dissect it together. Let's look at it. Let's figure out why you think that. Because I don't think that. And if I don't think that, there's a reason. So let me tell you why I don't think that's true based upon the facts. And if you do it like that, like it's a conversation where you're both going to take a trip to uncover something, it's not as bad when you get there because you've told them what to expect. Listen, I just want to talk about this not to sandbag you or make you feel inadequate. I want to do this because I don't understand why you think this and I don't. That's a different conversation. That's just a conversation. That's not debate. Debate is you're going to say this because you're trying to prove an overall overarching theme that you either agree or disagree with this topic that we're discussing. I think debates are stupid. I think debates are a waste of time because if you're here to debate this, I can't change your mind. That's not what we're designed to do. It's designed to somehow win your argument. And if you tell me that you emphatically believe this and that you have no desire to change your mind, then that's not a debate, an exchange of ideas. It's you simply trying to prove that your point's correct. And I'm not interested in that. Because from your perspective, it is correct. And there is no way that I can change that with me going ahead and trying to disprove everything you say or you disproving everything I say. We should be trying to prove what we say is correct and find out where the disparity is so we can get to a common ground. Because, see, if you take out the emotion on things and you remove it completely, facts don't hurt. It's when you go ahead and make up that the facts mean something that they don't, and you apply this pain where you feel you have to defend it. But I don't feel I need to defend Donald Trump. And there's a simple reason, because I'm not fucking Donald Trump. I don't know. Maybe he is Hitler. Maybe he does want to kill everybody. I don't know. But has he demonstrated those things? No. Has he even remotely scratched the surface of that? No. So I have to take his actions and the results and weigh the evidence based upon your claim, because the burden of proof is not on Donald Trump to show that he's not a Nazi. And it's not my burden of proof to show that he's not a Nazi. It's your burden of proof to prove that he's a Nazi. And you don't have that because he's not. So when I say people walk into this platform and they want to have an argument, is that I don't do it like they anticipate. They expect me to go, okay, this is my platform, blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to show you some sort of Ben Shapiro and Cenk Uygur or Piers Morgan and whatever fuck he has on. Destiny or whatever. That's not the way I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, hi, what's going on? How you feeling, man? What do you want to talk about? And if you notice, I say that to everybody. What do you want to talk about? Not, hey, why do you have a stupid position and why do you think this? Even though I see what you're saying in chat, I want to hear what you have to say. Most people say the following. Hey, I want to let you know I really like your show and I enjoy it. However, I think I disagree with you on this one. I'm like, okay, let's have that talk. Because my opinion of what happens after that is I'm going to convince you why we don't disagree. I'm going to try to show you my reasoning, and you're going to say the following, more than likely what most people say. I can see that. You know what? I didn't think of it that way. I can see where you're coming from. It happens all the time. And I can say, you know what? That's a good point. I haven't thought about that before. That's a good point. That's not a debate. That's just a conversation. It's what we used to do before we felt we had to like defend everybody. We had to be the shield and the gladiators for the politicians. Fuck them. I care more about the people who have shields and swords in the pit with me. I don't give a shit about Caesar. I don't give a shit about the mob. I care about my brothers who are ready to be eaten by lions. Why would I put my vitriol against somebody who is watching my show? So I don't know. I just have a different outlook on that type of stuff. You should too. Do you think that Elon's DOGE will actually be effective? I think it'll expose corruption. I think it'll expose overspending and wasteful spending. Yeah, but they won't have any power. It's an advisory group. It's like a think tank. Do I think it's beneficial? Sure, I do. Yeah. But ultimately, the power will come through the President of the United States and the Congress to legislate effectively and to balance wasteful spending and keep it to a minimum. But yeah, I think it's going to be effective because it's going to be displayed to the American people. And ultimately, that will result in a vote that could change the course of the waste, right? But they won't have any, I don't know how to put these, they won't have any authority. I'll catch you later, Matt, on the fentanyl roundtable on Wimkin. Yes. Oh, I gotta answer Jason that I'll be there. I didn't know it was this late. You guys got me talking. What's new? All right. What else? She's not 46. Come on, no way. Yeah, Olivia's 46 years old. No, she's 44. 44. Did you get the reply I sent about Still Point music promotion? I hope it helps. No, I didn't. What? No, I didn't see it, Loretta. What? Folks, we're going to go soon. 81.75 is show goal. Our goal is 150. We are about $70, $68 shy. If you have not had a chance, maybe it's the time. If you wouldn't mind donating to the Donut and Friendly show so we can continue to provide AM shows. I'm not looking to go crazy and make a whole bunch in the morning, but we got to at least cover the streaming cost, cover the overall show costs. And that's what we try to do and have a little bit extra in the pocket to help us. If you think about it, 2 hours, $150, that's $75. 40% of that's going to go to overhead. That's not a lot. So if you have the ability to help out, we understand it's a lot. If you look at it all as one big chunk, but if everyone helped out who was on right now and everyone gave $1 or $2, we would hit it. So if you can help us out, we would appreciate it. We are not funded by anyone but Wimkin. That is 100% disclosure. They pay us a certain amount of money a month because we actually are shareholders in the company. We love the company and we love Wimkin. So if you haven't been over there, go do that. And then if you don't mind, you can go to thedumshow.com/donate, help out the show and continue to keep us moving forward. Yeah, I don't think Matt would look good without a beard, but my husband and son have beard. I don't look good without a beard. And it's not that, okay, that's not true. When I put a suit on and I don't have a beard, it fits. But I don't, like, it doesn't make any sense. Like if I'm wearing a thermal or I'm wearing a t-shirt, I'm wearing a hat and I don't have a beard, it looks like one of these things don't belong here. It's a Sesame Street situation for shizzle. Dawn, you don't look 58. I get on the floor to play with a cat and crawl to the couch to get up. Yes, Evelyn, that sounds right. I'm 40 and don't look at it all. I get carded almost every time I buy cigarettes. Oh, now we got to play. We got to see. Now we got to see. Oh yeah, you look young, Brian. You sure do. Yeah, you look like Duffy, the congressman on Fox. Nixon really hated the press. Oh, he sure did. If Trump would have run as a Democrat, he would have been the next coming of Christ. Got any more comments? Bottom shelf. All right. Do you whistle when you say your threes? I don't know what that means. I posted it after the Friday night show to Olivia. I don't think so, Loretta. I don't think I don't know. I'll have to ask Olivia. She gets Olivia's getting real popular. People are constantly sending her messages. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. Matt, is there a way you can get your monetization back? It's not that it's gone. It's not gone. It's a matter of they don't fund my live videos. They don't do my reels. I don't know why. I'm in good standing. I can't show you because I'll get blacklisted, but I'm in good standing with them. I can't. I don't know. Matt, why is Biden authorizing Ukraine to use long-range weapons to target inside Russia? Okay. We can talk about that. Let's do that. I do got to get, holy fuck. I'm so sorry. I got to get changed for the I'm not going to wear this on the Wimkin fentanyl panel. I'm going to go put on a collared shirt and get all pretty. Okay. So understand, Ukraine was hit by Russia hard. Okay. Donald Trump said, don't advance, right? And he told Putin, don't advance. Well, what did Putin do? He advanced. This isn't going to sit well with Trump. You know, we're going to find out if Trump truly is a Russian asset, because that's bullshit. It's so ridiculous. He was extremely tough on Russia, and anyone says that he wasn't is not being honest. I've got a whole bunch to show you. What else did I say I was going to talk about? Make sure I got everything. Oh shit, I got a lot to talk about. Okay. And I don't want to do it. How about we do this? Let me go over this, and I'm going to blast this, and then get all these topics, because I got off on a tangent today and I did not do a good job. I failed miserably. I'm going to try to find this one video. And I had a really good video of the attack Russia did. It was pretty impressive. Let me see if I can find this here. I do love Twitter for their search capability. I'm not going to lie. They do a very good job, usually, of this. But in this case, we don't have it. Oh, well, there's a video that you can look up, and I apologize that it's really not imperative to the conversation, but the video is of the defense systems of Ukraine and engaging the drones and the missile strikes. Putin just sent a shit ton of missiles into Kyiv and the surrounding areas in the Ukraine. And this was a very aggressive attack. Okay. And it comes after a time when Donald Trump supposedly told him to not escalate. And I think Putin is doing one of two things. He is trying to bring Zelensky to the table before Donald Trump takes office. And the reason why is I think Putin wants, obviously, eastern side of Ukraine, does not want them to join NATO, and believes that from a position of power and strength, he will have a stronger negotiating tactic. Because I think when Trump gets in, he knows the buck stops there. I think Putin understands that. And you can only go off history in the 4 years that Trump was in there. It's not that he didn't want to go to in Ukraine in 2015. He did. And Putin wanted to. And Trump told him, you go into Ukraine, we're going to have a problem. And you're going to face repercussion for that. You have to sign up for Wimkin or you don't, but there'll be a big thing about a round table for Wimkin, I'm sure. I'll post them on the page. It'll be on Facebook. So Zelensky has been wanting to use the ATACMS for missile systems for quite a while. And these missile systems, these aren't nuclear capable. They're not Tomahawks. They're not first strike type weapons. They're retaliatory type weapons. Most of Russia's integrated air defense system is probably going to be able to intercept these. Yes, Putin has said if he sees any UAVs or unidentified missiles or projectiles going into, Russia, it'll be a NATO retaliation will go against NATO. Now, he's said that before. And NATO isn't specifically calling out the United States. And these are U.S. missiles. The Koreans that have just showed up, and there's about 20,000 North Korean soldiers have showed up. Some say that North Korea is going to send upwards of 100,000, which could absolutely turn this war. I believe that Putin wants the Donbass region to be Russian and to be a demarcation line similar to the DMZ of North Korea and South Korea for Ukraine and Russia. Now, I think Vladimir Putin's overall would be to take over Ukraine, and that was what he intended to do. That's why he hit, 9 different independent cities and targets in Ukraine and crippling their command and control and their overall defense systems. He wasn't there. If he wanted to, he just would have isolated Kyiv and with the Black Sea and the Donbass region and run his attacks on Kyiv endlessly from those two positions once he took them over, which were easily capturable at the time. He didn't. He hit multiple targets, multiple cities, and pushed into Kyiv. And ultimately, logistically, it was a fucking nightmare like it always is for Russians, because there's one thing Russians are horrible at, and that's logistics. They are horrible at resupply and logistics. So now he is in a situation where he's having to essentially borrow other military for ground game. And the overall size and scope of the recent push into Ukraine was extensive. He escalated. And what Joe Biden has done, which these missiles have been in Ukraine for quite a while, they just haven't had authorization to use them offensively and over into Russian territory, is there is a very small territory that has been approved to be hit. Now, the capabilities are much bigger than you would think with the ATACMS, because you can see this here. Is that predominantly this area right here? I'm seeing if I can blow this up. Is where they are focused on hitting. So it's all within this area from Ukraine. So here's Ukraine. Here's the Black Sea. And here's the contested regions where Russia is at. They can hit all up in this area. And you're not looking for them to hit up into Moscow or anything like that. And if that happens, it's going to be next level. For months, they've been weighing their option to allow this, and Russia knows this. This has been the best kept secret in the world. The HIMARS rocket is a little bit different. The range of those rockets were around 50 miles or 80 kilometers. The ATACMS can reach 190 miles or 300 kilometers. Both are short range, interdependent, surface to surface based missiles. And they are launched from a surface platform, and then they will strike on a surface platform. They are very good against large infantry or mechanized units or stationary units. They're not bunker busters. They're not going to take down buildings. But they're highly effective, and they're highly accurate in their targeting. Why is Biden doing this? Well, there's a couple reasons. It's the troop movements, number one. Number two, it's the size of the attack on Ukraine. And honestly, to be completely transparent, I think Donald Trump and Biden had a meeting, and I believe that almost without certainty that the conversation of Ukraine came up, and his overall reaction and what his platform will be in response to Putin. And I believe Donald Trump was probably very, very clear that I've left an ultimatum with Putin to not advance, to not push forward. And since he has, let's green light these missile systems to quash and deter any further probing and movements into Ukraine. Is this a proportional response? Is this something that is a strong response? The answer is yes. I want to be transparent. I am not a big fan of this conflict and being a proxy, but I'm also not a big fan of Vladimir Putin. And I'm also not a big fan of NATO. This is something that is very volatile and highly reactive. Do I believe that Vladimir Putin is going to launch nuclear missiles? But no, it's ridiculous. No, not at all. Not in any way, shape, or form. Folks, just give you an FYI, we're 8175. We're close to our goal, but we are still far away for our AM goal. If you have the ability to help out the Donut and Friendly Show, we would appreciate it. Please, if you have a chance, please donate to the show. If you haven't done it before, we would greatly appreciate it. So that's the thing that I would say when it comes to this. I believe this is posturing. This is Zelensky's ability to sting Putin, to make him more of a threat for the negotiating table. And this was a sting by Russia. This is all posturing for negotiations that are going to take place as soon as Trump takes office. I would be very surprised if this thing continues with as much veracity as it has. I feel this is a last push. Russia is in no place to run an extended war like this, but Russia hasn't taken the gloves off either. For anyone who's like, oh, Putin is just a vile human. Yes, he is. But Putin has not taken the gloves off. And I do not believe that this movement will have Vladimir Putin take the gloves off. I don't. Okay? So there's my feelings on that one. Hope that makes sense. Trey Gowdy. Most people know that I like Trey Gowdy. I like people who are constitutionalists. But Trey Gowdy is not. Now, he's FBI rank and file. He has a lot to say about the FBI. He is a smart litigator. He is a smart lawyer. He's an intelligent man. But if anyone thinks that he is MAGA, Evelyn, from my understanding, we have had them both in Poland and Ukraine. I'm not thinking they are on standby, though. I'm not going to answer that question. Yeah. I will not answer that question. Yeah. Nope. Not going to answer that with a 10-foot pole. Do we have troops in Poland on standby? I'm not going to answer that question. And me not answering that question doesn't mean the answer is yes. My answer is for one or two reasons or both. One is that I will not put any U.S. troops in jeopardy by giving location. Number two is my answer is I will not. I'm trying to think how I want to say this. Yeah, I'm not going to answer that question. That's it. There's another reason, but I'm not going to say it. And because I say I won't answer it does not confirm that there are or are not. I am not going to dissuade enemies of the United States or encourage enemies of the United States. And an answer will do both. And I'm not going to give it. You know my stance on special forces in Israel. In special forces in Ukraine, I've been very transparent that there are American soldiers, airmen, Coast Guardsmen, sailors, and Marines that are deployed across the United States right now. I've been open about that, but I'm not going to go into specifics. Cool? No. Everyone has a right to ask those type of questions. It's fine. I'm just not going to answer them. And I'm going to tell you when I can and can't. I'm not going to answer it. That's all. Okay? It's okay to ask every question. I'm just going to let you know if I can or cannot answer it. Trey Gowdy decided to go ahead and do this. You may have seen this. Brian Kilmeade and Trey Gowdy took shots that I thought were fairly chicken shit. And I still think that they're fairly chicken shit. Here's the video. Give this a watch.
The more you get to know Pete Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard, the more you're going to like her. The more you get to know Matt Gaetz, the less you're going to like him. I'm going to be really surprised if he can get confirmed.
Right. So would I, especially after how he blew up Kevin McCarthy. I had no plan B. You thought it was a lethal blow to the House majority, but it turns out America really wanted Republicans in charge. So we'll see where that goes.
The more you get to know Pete Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard, the more you're going to like her. The more you get to know Matt Gaetz, the less you're going to like him.
Thank you very much, Amy. It's interesting. And once again, Tulsi Gabbard, I've said I put my support behind her. If Donald Trump picks her, I got to support her. I have my questions as far as her party loyalty, but her loyalty to the military in this country, I really don't question that. But for Trey Gowdy, how rich is it for him to sit here and say a former progressive socialist is, oh, the more you get to know her, the more you're going to like her. I don't think Trey Gowdy and Tulsi Gabbard, although did probably cross swords working together for the government, I don't think that that's a very genuine statement from Trey Gowdy. And there's a reason why, is because he has ulterior motives. And if you take a look at this video, he gets absolutely crushed by Molly Hemingway, who
in the House Ethics Committee,
who I have a crush on. I don't know why. She's not really my type, but I think she's cute as a button, and just a fierce, intelligent woman. I got a crush on Molly Hemingway. I'm just letting you know. But she goes after Trey right here. Here's the full clip where Trey once again goes after Matt Gaetz, and Molly Hemingway does exactly what I said the other night on why I support Gaetz and Gabbard and RFK is right here. Watch this. I got the hiccups. Sorry.
You are referring to the situation with the report in the House Ethics Committee. Johnson puts the kibosh on the Gaetz report. This is Politico. Trump announced his AG intentions. Gaetz promptly resigned his seat, which in the normal course of affairs would end the ethics probe. But keep this in mind, the report exists. Senators examining the nomination want to see it, and it will remain a proverbial sword dangling over Gaetz's head so long as he's up for confirmation or serving as the nation's top law enforcement officer. Here's the back and forth on that.
I've only expressed my opinion that we should stick to the tradition not release a report on a former member of the House because it would open a dangerous Pandora's box.
There's precedent for that. Can't really get into what's going on now, but the fact that someone has left the Congress does not mean that the report can't be released. You got the Senate seeking the information so that they can meet their constitutional obligations.
Molly, let me just go back to you. I saw you shaking your head about this particular nomination and where it stands with that report.
Right. Matt Gaetz was nominated for this position because we have a problem at the Department of Justice. For the last 8 years, they have run roughshod over rule of law in this country. They have prosecuted political opponents. They ran the Russia collusion hoax. And too many people in Washington, D.C. did not stand up against what was happening there. And many Americans are upset about it. Matt Gaetz is one of the most effective people at fighting that Russia collusion hoax and other information operations, whether it was the Brett Kavanaugh information operation, the Donald Trump Russia collusion hoax information operation, or the one that is referenced here, which is something that the FBI and Department of Justice, which hate Matt Gaetz, looked into and cleared him of any wrongdoing. The idea that this is about the issue is corruption. It's the Department of Justice's corruption. And people are sick and tired of people in Washington, D.C. doing nothing as these people tried to destroy the country and getting upset at someone who actually might root out the corruption there. We don't have a Department of Justice. We have a Department of Injustice. And that's why you get Matt Gaetz as a nominee.
All right, Kevin.
Absolutely crushed it.
I'm going to be.
There's also a video of Steve Bannon questioning, and listen, I can live with him or without him, to be honest. I don't know enough about Steve Bannon. I know about Breitbart. I know about his time with Trump. I know enough about him. I've listened to him in the past. It's not that I don't like Steve Bannon. I think he's very, very intelligent. I think he's very, very smart. The War Room is a fantastic name, and it's also a fantastic podcast, and it's very informative, and it's very similar to what I do. He does it probably more effectively than I do. His inside baseball is really strong. So do I like Bannon? Yeah. Do I trust him? I don't know. But I definitely listen to what he has to say when he says it. And this is a very good point. Trey Gowdy left when his star was on the rise. Now, understand, there was a group of people that really kind of came from the neocon Bonner type Republican. And these were the 2006 anti-Obama, ultra-Christian, Tea Partier type movement. And it was extreme. Now, the Tea Party that was founded by Ron Paul is not the same Tea Party that was eventually the one that we saw during this time. And the reason why is because the Koch brothers took over and really held the Tea Party hostage and filled it with religious zealots like Michelle Bachmann, Paul Ryan, Jason Chaffetz is on there, Trey Gowdy is on there, Tim Scott is on there. And there is a very long history between Devin Nunes and these people. Devin Nunes had really this lawfare action that you saw against Trump and you now are seeing against Gaetz and you saw against Jim Jordan really was pushed against Devin Nunes. Now, Devin Nunes runs Trump Media and Truth Social for Donald Trump. And Trey Gowdy left. And he said that he was going and kind of sick of Washington and was going to go work in the private sector and litigate, and whether that be for the judiciary or private practice or, state's attorney or judge federal circuit or whatever. Really, Trey Gowdy could go wherever he wanted. His reputation with the FBI, his reputation in Congress, had a lot of positives. When Paul Ryan left as Speaker and essentially abandoned the party to the McConnells and their ilk, there was a mass exodus of these neocon classic conservative Bonner conservatives. And Paul Ryan went on the board with Murdoch for Fox News. And of course, Jason Chaffetz and Trey Gowdy followed. Now, Gowdy did work with a private law firm for a period of time and did consulting work and also did, case work, but not to the level that he said he was leaving. A lot of people feel that he left for a payday, but a lot of people feel that from the rumor mill is that he left because he litigated a case against Hillary Clinton with a lot of bark and no bite. And that is how I describe Trey Gowdy. He's got a very good mouth, and he has a lot of bark, and he doesn't do anything about it. Do me a favor, ban Virginia Luther, please. If you have not already banned her, I'd appreciate it. You guys aren't going to win this. Like, my team's too good. You guys keep trying to spit you're not good enough. You will quit. Everyone else does. The penile cream from General Jugu Bugu Bugu Buga from South Africa didn't work. This shit's not going to work. They're not going to fall. First of all, you don't know how to spell my name. And you pluralize my name. And everyone knows I fucking hate that. So nobody's going to buy your shit. So go fuck yourself, Virginia Luther. So Trey Gowdy, in my opinion, okay. All right, Virginia, you're going to make it. You're going to make it. Wait, I think you're already being blocked, which is interesting. Nobody can see your shit. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. See, you guys are stupid because you put a reoccurring thing in all your messages. It's really easy to block your shit. If you were smart, you would find a way to go ahead and get past it, but you're not. Do 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 do. Boom 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 boom. Oh, Virginia, you've already been blocked. Bye, Virginia. Nobody saw one post except for me. And fucking blocked. See ya. See you next time when your boyfriend. So anyway, Trey Gowdy, in my opinion, is a very intelligent, very smart lawyer. And there are two people that I don't trust in this world. And they're smart lawyers. I don't trust them. And cab drivers. I don't trust smart lawyers, and I don't trust cab drivers. I think cab drivers are the most just reprehensible, morally reprehensible pieces of shit. And it's because how they drive. And I can't stand them. I don't even care about what they do inside their cabs. I just can't stand how they fucking drive. And they're arrogant dicks. And I despise cab drivers. I despise lawyers too. And Trey Gowdy is most assuredly a smart lawyer. I don't trust him. I don't trust Jason Chaffetz. I don't trust Trey Gowdy. I don't trust Michelle Bachmann. Nope. I don't trust any of them. I don't trust Mitch McConnell. I don't trust Tim Scott. I've told you that. I don't like him. I think he's a phony. And there's a reason why he doesn't have a huge cabinet position right now. Byron Donalds, I believe they're waiting. I don't know what they're waiting for. I hope they get him a position. But Tim Scott, I don't trust him at all. So this is Steve Bannon's reaction. Let's watch it.
It could be best if the Murdochs got with the program, because these cabinet secretaries are going to be the cabinet secretaries. And Matt Gaetz, to be as Attorney General, and the team they put around that's been announced is an amazing team already. And he will be the quarterback. So it's going to happen. So don't try your cute stuff by using your puppets like Kilmeade and Trey Gowdy. Do we have the Trey Gowdy clip? Let's go ahead and play it.
Trey, I had Senator Thune on, the incoming Senate Majority Leader, yesterday, and he basically said, listen, it's not going to be easy. Some of these picks are not going to be easy to get through, but there is this mandate just by the vote that there is a feeling that Republican senators in particular, most of them, want to give the president what he wants. Some of them will be tough.
Yeah, the overwhelming majority of his picks will sail through because they were Grand Slam picks. But to Molly's point, you don't root out corruption at the Department of Justice by picking a corrupt person to lead it. So Matt Gaetz, either the report comes out and he's not going to be the Attorney General, or the report doesn't come out and he's not going to be the Attorney General. I mean, the problem, Brett, is all the good picks.
See, it's interesting that Trey Gowdy is nervous. Matt Gaetz is very much like Trump, and they're telling you, don't like Matt Gaetz. They're coming after him. Why? If he's this morally reprehensible piece of shit, then why didn't the DOJ and FBI go ahead and prosecute? Why didn't they remove him? Why is the ethics committee taking 2 years to investigate this? So people ask me, why did he nominate Matt Gaetz? Because I think Donald Trump truly wants him to be the attorney general. Does he get confirmed? I don't know. It sounds like a lot of Republicans aren't going to confirm him. I don't know if that goes over well, but Matt Gaetz will serve in some capacity or another under Donald Trump. And I believe that he absolutely will be impactful within the DOJ. Without a doubt. He could be a special advisor to the president, to the Department of Justice as a liaison, and he can create that position. Matt Gaetz is going to serve in Donald Trump's cabinet. There's nothing you can do about it. And hopefully he's the attorney general, and I'm not against it. Even though Matt Gaetz and I disagree sometimes, it doesn't really matter because he doesn't even know me. But I disagree with everybody sometimes. But if they're afraid, it's the right person. He is the right person if they're afraid. And he will not split hairs. I think Matt Gaetz will go after Republicans as hard as he'll go after Democrats, and that's what we need. I think he will be a ruthless AG. And we need a ruthless AG. We need the corruption in Washington to be cleared, and he's the guy for the job. So let's get behind him. Trey Gowdy. I think Trey Gowdy's jealous, honestly. I think Trey Gowdy got out of Washington along with the guys like Paul Ryan and Jason Chaffetz for the, the money and to peddle for the Murdochs. And he's done that. And he's got his weekend show on Fox. But I will tell you, he is a never Trumper. He was absolutely open to the resistance of Donald Trump. And that is why in 2016 to 18, they were resistant to Trump. Nothing's changed. And the Murdoch Republican Party is dead. It's dead. We're not Republicans anymore. We may be conservative, but I will be honest, I have fully fledged if we can rename the Republican Party if we want to. It's been renamed before. It's been changed before. Let's do it again. And let's, if we have to, let's do MAGA. You want to do MAGA? You want to make MAGA? You want to go ahead and name it, make America great again? I don't care. But we are not this old Republican neocon, false uniparty bullshit anymore. America has voted it out. They have voted in MAGA. That is who we are. We want Donald Trump as our president. We want his policies executed, come hell or high water. And I'm with him. I'm with him. And I'm with him because I've been with the batshit crazy Democrats, and I've seen what they've been doing for the last 9 years, and I'm done. I'm done. So Steve Bannon, by the way, if you can't tell.
John Lee Ratcliffe, Elise Stefanik, Lee Zeldin, Mike Waltz, all the good picks. Nobody's talking about those right now. They're talking about this wild card pick of someone who had to get out of the House to avoid being sanctioned by the House Ethics Committee. That dumbfounding pick is just sucking the oxygen out of all the good ones he made.
So Trey Gowdy, and by the way, he was, to go back in time, on the beginning of the Russia collusion, the Russia hoax, Paul Ryan, who hates Trump, is on the board of Fox, forced Devin Nunes, who was Kash Patel's boss. So the cast of characters over there, just Kash Patel was the lead counsel. The chief investigator and the kind of chief of staff was Colonel Derek Harvey. So we've all worked together for a long time. So you have Kash, you have Derek Harvey, and Devin Nunes, who runs True Trump Media, was the head of the Intelligence Committee, a fantastic guy. He, because he was an ally of ours, was removed by Paul Ryan. He said he had conflict. Recused him. Forced him to recuse. And in the place, he put Trey Gowdy, who was on the committee, against Shifty Shift and Swalwell. And I had the pleasure of spending, 20 hours being grilled by these guys, looking for perjury traps all the time, being grilled. And the worst was Trey Gowdy. He was trying to dig up stuff on Trump. Trey Gowdy is a traitor. He's a horrible person. Perfect person to be the Murdoch's running dog. The question I've got, you talk about the House, Trey Gowdy, you left the House like in the middle of the night as a rising quote-unquote star. You left like in the middle of the night. Why did Trey Gowdy step down? You did not take a judgeship. You did not take a U.S. attorney. You did not take that job. You did not take being a judge. You didn't go to a big law firm to make money. And, why did you leave so quickly? I'm asking for a friend. We'd like to know that. Before you start attacking Gates, why did you leave the House? What was it to leave the House? Now, there's lots of rumors about why you left the House. Of course, here at the War Room, we would never traffic in rumors. So we want to hear from you. But you didn't take being a judge, which would be an obvious choice. You didn't check being a U.S. attorney or attorney for the government, which would have been an obvious choice. You didn't take going for a big law firm and getting a payday, right? You kind of put your shingle up, kind of wandered around. Why would anybody do that? So why don't you explain that first, and then we can hear what you got to say about Gates. And look what Trey Gowdy goes through, all the standards. Look, Stefanik's good, Lee Zeldin's all good, but that's standard stock Republican. They're not guys going to bust the system up. They're not players. They're good people. Lee Stefanik, I think, will step up. She did a great job, I think, over the UN, particularly if she gets into the engine room in Geneva, could be terrific. And, Waltz, they always want to go back to the Republican playback. The Republican Party did not win this election. Donald Trump and MAGA has now increased. And guess what? We got some former ex-Democrats. That's how
all pretty much clear, fairly consistent with the message I'm sending and most people are sending, is that the party of old school Republican conservatives that were abandoned, and Reaganomics and the whole trickle-down bullshit and the betrayal of Reagan, where Republicans have turned on Reagan, who was predominantly family values, America first, and was brought on to fight against socialism and communism, is kind of the founding father of the 21st century. And to repudiate his policies for this, Christian zealot, spend money and partner with Democrats behind the scenes bullshit that they do, I'm done with it. And that's it. Trey Gowdy is someone who I admired. I really did. And I watched his stuff religiously, and very much like Eric Erickson, I finally have realized that these guys are hedge bettors, and they ride the middle. They ride the middle. And I've been telling you about Trey Gowdy for about a year now, and most of you know. But anybody who's watched my show knows that I have challenged Trey Gowdy many times with shit that he has said about Donald Trump, especially the lawfare against him. And he's been all supportive, and he's been a never Trumper. And he always pretends to err on the side of the Constitution. But when the Constitution is being weaponized, it doesn't make you a constitutionalist. It makes you a fucking fascist. So, I really like that Steve Bannon's calling him out, and I like that other people are starting to call him out. I wish you guys would have been doing it a year ago when I was calling out Jason Chaffetz and Trey Gowdy and Michelle Bachmann and the Tea Party phonies who took advantage of the conservative party and became these spending conservatives, an oxymoron, who embraced wars, became neocons, and spending in the United States. I can't stand this shit. I always forget his name. He ran for president same time as Michelle Bachmann. He's always on CNN. I can't remember his name. And I'm going to find it because I'm going to make sure that I include him in this because he's the same way. It was 2011, 2012. And I can't stand Michelle Bachmann. I can't stand him. Oh, what was his name? Was Michael something? No. God darn it. What was his name? Rick fucking Santorum. He's the other one. There's the ones that trashed Herman Cain, right? And we know Newt Gingrich, Rick Perry, Mitt Romney. Just the Romney, Rick Perry is enough, but Michelle Bachmann and Rick Santorum, it was a Tea Party fest. Rick Santorum, I won't forget, and I know his name. I know him religiously, but I haven't talked about him in years. Those were the crazy batshit religious zealots. You know, the people who told us that Sharia law was coming to the United States. Oh yeah, right. These women shave their fucking heads when they don't win an election. You really think they're going to go ahead and put them in burqas? Give me a break. Rick Santorum, Michelle Bachmann, Trey Gowdy, Jason Chaffetz, Rick Perry, Mitt Romney, John McCain, they're all the same. They're all the same. Lindsey Graham is also a holdover from that time. They're all McConnell bitches. And they are remnants of the uniparty / neocons / religious zealot Christian right and the Tea Party. They can't be trusted. None of them. They need to be gone. And let's clean them. Let's get them out. I'm sick of it. Lindsey Graham, he needs to go. He needs to go. Get him out of here. Mitt Romney, get him out of here. Murkowski, get her out of here. Get them all out of here. You either vote for what America wants or you deserve term limits. You need to get the fuck out of here. I'm sick of them. I can't stand these people. He's got a mandate. Give him what he wants.
You are referring
real simple. Give him what he wants. Okay. I told you I was going to get to everything. So I am. Folks, donations, seeing if we have any. Nope. We're still hurting. I don't know if we're going to hit it, folks. We're about $48 shy. No, we don't need term limits. Founding fathers didn't want term limits because they already put term limits into the Constitution of the United States. It's called voting. We just demonstrated what term limits can do. It's called voting. We own the SCOTUS. We own the gubernatorial. We own the House. We own the Senate. We own the presidency. That's term limits. You just did it. Keep doing it. Alex Jones? No. Not thinking of Alex Jones. It was Rick Santorum. Want to show you a video. This is called jumping the shark. You may not understand the term. The term is that when you go ahead and have a cause or a belief or an ideology that you start your premise on, like don't unfriend me, okay? And then you jump the shark. Means that you're doing something counterintuitive to what you originally started. So, for example, Don't Unfriend Me was about not unfriending people who were close to you based on their political opinion. So that would be like me finding people who I really care about, and all of a sudden I start telling you, defriend everybody who doesn't believe in what you believe in. Defriend everyone you know who isn't a Trump supporter. That would be me jumping the shark. Does that make sense? Great. Morning Joe has officially jumped the shark. Very good friends with Donald Trump back in the time. Roundtable's 1 to 4. I'm not leaving it. I'm finishing my show, and Jason knows, and I've already told him I'll be there in like 20 minutes. Scarborough and Mika from Morning Joe were very good friends with Donald Trump. Very good friends. And surprisingly enough, Joe Scarborough used to be an RFK supporter and talked about how vaccines and autism and the links between it, and was very moderate in his beliefs has become an extremist. And they went to Mar-a-Lago and kind of smoked the peace pipe with Donald Trump, so to speak, in the air of, keeping up relations and media relations. You just went to Hitler's home. These people make me sick. You went to Hitler's home. And I'm laughing at you. You're the first big publication to jump the shark. And everyone's going to do it. Joy Reid's going to have to do it. The View is going to have to do it. You all know you're going to have to take a bite out of this giant shit burger. Otherwise, you will be broadcasting black for the rest of these 4 years. You're not going to get the headline. You're not going to get the key interview. Your station isn't going to get the interview because nobody gives a fuck about The View. Nobody gives a fuck about Rachel Maddow. Nobody cares about Joy Reid. They care about the programs that aren't NBC, CBS, ABC, politically related. And the reason people stay on CBS, ABC, and NBC is because they watch the news and then they go ahead and watch primetime. And if you're not covering the things that they want to see, they're not going to watch you. And if you continue to browbeat and be propagandists for a mandated president, you're going to lose viewers. So these guys are all going to jump the shark. They're going to tell you, Rachel Maddow, oh, I'm here for freedom and democracy and blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to tell you all these lies about Donald Trump and these things that never happened, this conspiratorial bullshit, and pretend it's news. But really, it's just an editorial opinion column. None of it needs to be real, which it wasn't. They're all going to have to jump the shark. Here is Scarborough and Mika, Joe and Mike in the morning.
I
love how they pretend to be magnanimous in their scripted bullshit. This is all theater. It's fake. It's pre-written of, hey, in the sake of democracy, we're going to extend a hand. You know what? Fuck you. If I was Donald Trump, I'd say the same thing.
Given the opportunity to do just that, Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump. It was the first time.
You mean Hitler, right? The racist, xenophobic, homophobic, transphobic, xenophobic, Nazi, MAGA extremist, super MAGA, dark MAGA, Hitler's anti-Jew, pro-Russian president-elect. That's what you mean, right? Dude, I fucking love that these guys had to eat crow. I love that they had to go crawling and kiss his pucker. That is the great. How did his ass taste? I'm wondering. You both, your expressions right now look like you got a mouthful. I love it. Folks, $48 shy of our goal. Come on, people now. Smile on each other.
We have seen him in 7 years.
Now, we talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets. We talked about that a good bit. And it's going to come as no surprise to anybody who watches this show, has watched it over the past year or over the past decade, that we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of issues, and we told him so.
What we did agree on was to restart communications. My father often spoke with world leaders with whom he and the United States profoundly disagreed. That's a task shared by reporters and commentators alike. We had not spoken to President Trump since March of 2020, other than a personal call Joe made to Trump on the morning after the attempt on his life in Butler, Pennsylvania. In this meeting, President Trump was tearful, he was upbeat, he seemed interested in finding common ground with Democrats on some of the most divisive issues. And for those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times, especially between us, I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we? 5 years of political warfare has deeply divided Washington and the country. We have been as clear as we know how in expressing our deep concerns about President Trump's actions and words in the coarsening of public debate. But for nearly 80 million Americans, election denialism, public trials, and January 6th were not as important as the issues that moved them to send Donald Trump back to the White House with their vote. Joe and I realize it's time to do something different. And that starts with not only talking about Donald Trump, but also talking with him.
Wow. Wow. I mean, wow. Talk about jumping the shark, folks. Sounds like more than a cup of coffee. Sounds like a cup of bullshit. And this is what you're going to see from many of these people, is they somehow have to put the proverbial shit back into the horse. They have told you for so many years that this is Adolf Hitler and he's a racist and he's a Nazi, Ku Klux Klan member, fascist, insurrectionist. And now they want to sit down with him and build relationships again. This is what you can expect from the media. They are shills. And honestly, every single person should hold their feet to the flame. I'm proud that we challenged Donald Trump. I'm proud that I challenged him 18 months ago and said that his campaign had no chance of victory, and it didn't. 12 months ago, it had no chance of victory. There was no path to the White House. But something changed, and he did what he should have done. After the primaries, he moved to the middle, and he became the common sense candidate. And he turned it around. Corey Lewandowski, once again, was probably the best hire that he made in the home stretch. But Donald Trump will be criticized by me when he makes stupid choices. And I'll call it out. That doesn't mean I'm disloyal. But what you did was you manufactured opinion and tried to present it as fact, from Russian collusion to the P tapes, to the good people on both sides, to the suckers and losers, and ignored the things with Joe Biden, his botched Afghanistan withdrawal, him checking his watch with dead soldiers. We can go on and on and on and on and on about all the things that you propagated as truth when it was lies. You all laid down and left your integrity at the door, and you expect Donald Trump not to wipe his feet on you, and he gives you admission. Once again, playing the bigger person. Donald Trump doesn't want you to kiss his ass. Donald Trump doesn't want you to be ultra loyal to a point where you can't disagree with him. He wants you to be authentic. And you two shills are about as DuPont plastic as they fucking come. You are middle-aged Ken and Barbie dolls. And what's between your ear is empty space. And now you have to run back and go kiss Hitler's ass. I love it. I love it. And I can't wait for all the media to have to do it. I can't wait for senators to do it and congressmen to do it. Because the truth is that this man is the most powerful man in the world. Again. And this time, he's got a fucking mandate. Watch out. Watch out. The winds of change are here, and a lot of you are left without a shelter. And it's by your own doing. It's your own volition. I would stand up, and every single thing I've ever said about Donald Trump, I would show him personally and say, here was my opinion. And during that time, I treated you with deference. I treated you with respect. The same thing with Joe Biden. I called out his policies. I gave him credit when he was okay, but I called out when he was an absolute jerk and a horrible human being. And I would have either of them sit here and listen to anything I did, and I'd look them right in the eye and say, my opinion hasn't changed. Scarborough and Mika, they are literally saying everything that we have said for the last 9 years has been a lie. and we are throwing it away, and we want to start fresh. Wow. Huge. Huge, huge, huge. I think that's all we got. Let me double check. I think I covered it all. Good. We got it done for you. Even though we had low people, and even though we didn't hit our morning goal, I think we made enough to at least cover the show. Yes, we did. I want to thank everybody. Folks, need you here tonight. Mondays are huge nights for us, and that's usually why we don't see huge morning shows. Let me know. What do you think about the morning show? Start too early? Start too late? Is it the right time? Is 11 o'clock good? I've tried it at 10. It doesn't really work. I've tried it at 9. It doesn't work. Want to get your thoughts? Please let me know. Email me, Matt at The Dumb Show. And last minute, thedumbshow.com/donate. If you have an opportunity, have a chance, please donate to the show. Help us out. We'll be back tonight at 7 o'clock with myself, with Olivia, Leeroy, and Amy. All of us will be here. If you like the show, stop on by wimkin.com. Do it now. Go sign up. Put in your profile picture, email, username. Remember all those things. In about 24 hours, Jason will get you signed up, and you can be a part of one of the biggest growing social media experiments in free speech at Wimkin. I'm going to be over there. I'm going to jump online here in just a few and be a part of the fentanyl roundtable that they are having. Last time Roseanne Barr showed up, Laura Logan showed up, and I'm expecting more people will show up this time. Thanks for watching. See you tonight at 7 o'clock. See ya.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leeroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.